was very persuasive otherwise, and frankly, I really couldn't disagree with him. However fond we are of you, Sonia. And we are. Lane gave a light laugh. And we are. We didn't come to this decision for you, but for the company we've built. For its standards. We're telling you these details in case Brandon attempts in any way to malign your personal or professional reputation. Forewarned is forearmed, Matt tossed in. Yes, thank you. I don't take blame for any of it, but I'm sorry. As we all are. We wish you nothing but the best, Sonia. While we're disappointed about the account, Matt and I take some pride in your accomplishments. I'll add Miranda also mentioned that, when asked, and in contrast to Brandon, you spoke with respect and affection for By Design. We appreciate it. You've earned the respect and affection. If you ever decide to come back to Boston, our door's open, Matt told her. Thanks. This is home now. When she hung up, Clover tried Billy Joel's A Matter of Trust. I guess it was. He broke it with me, now he broke it with them. And I can't figure out how I feel about it. Taking a break. Come on, Yoda. Let's go for a walk. Chapter 26. She opted for the gardens. While the sea always enthralled, she decided she needed the peace of the gardens, the simple joy of knowing she'd played a part in adding to them. She tested the soil on the deck pots, found it as always moist. What she and Cleo had planted had already begun to fill and spill. While Yoda wandered and sniffed, she noted that irises had begun to bloom. Some purple, some butter yellow, some tender peach. And the wisteria dripped from the pergola. A dwarf tree spread an umbrella of snowy white blossoms. She'd yet to spot a single weed, and found none now as she, like Yoda, wandered and sniffed. When she couldn't identify a plant, which was often, even if she'd planted it herself, she used her app. One of these days, she promised herself, she'd know them all. But now it calmed her, settled her to just walk as the wind chimes they'd hung tinkled or gave their low, muted bong. She decided to circle around, check Cleo's herb bed, see if any blossoms, a daily hope, had opened on the tomatoes or peppers. But when she called to Yoda, who'd wandered closer to the woods than she'd realized, he just kept going. Yoda, come back here! She started jogging in his direction as his stubby legs picked up speed. Yoda! Damn it, don't go in there today! I don't have the bear spray! But he ran straight in, and muttering curses she had no choice but to follow. Trees had leafed out, so the sun shimmered its way through them. Though she felt the charm of it all, almost like her father's painting over the fireplace back in Boston, she wasn't prepared for a walk in the woods. She heard him barking now as she continued to call, probably after a squirrel, a chipmunk, a rabbit, whatever. Come on, Yoda, this isn't like you. You're such a good boy. Come on, and we'll get you a treat. Wildflowers reached up where they could catch the sun, and the deeper shadows showed hints of green. If she heard rustling, she imagined squirrel, chipmunk, rabbit, and refused to let her mind drift to bear. She prayed her adventurous dog stuck to the path and didn't end up getting them both lost. A rustling, bigger than squirrel, chipmunk, rabbit, made her heart skip. Then a deer leaped across the path and vanished in those green-hued shadows. Birds sang out, the pines whispered, and she felt it, that pull. Just a tug at first, but irresistible. Oh, God. Here? Now? Why? Though she slowed her pace, it pulled her forward, a thread she simply couldn't break. So she went deeper into the shadows and light, deeper yet until all she heard was her own heart pounding. It stood on the path, dappled in that light and shadow. And here in the deep woods, the predators framing the glass seemed at home. Yoda sat at its feet, his head ticking back and forth. Did he see himself, she wondered. She didn't. She saw a blur of light and shadow, the green of trees, the brown of the path, but not a reflection, a continuance. How is this even possible? How could it be out here? When Yoda wagged at her, she crouched down. You have to stay, because I have to go. I have to. She straightened, stared at the mirror as she heard, distantly, the sound of hooves. If anything hurts my dog, I swear I'll make them pay for it. She went through the mirror and into the woods, on the path, the same path she knew it, but different, the air so much cooler. And if she hadn't felt fall in that air, she saw it in the trees flaming with it. 1805. Arthur Poole slowed his horse from gallop to a light trot. No hurry after all. He had nothing but time today, and his mood stayed lifted high after the gallop. He was a contented man, a successful man, and one who considered himself in his prime. As hardly more than a boy, he'd sailed from London and near poverty to the rough and rugged coast of Maine. With a dream, with ambition, with a strong back and determination. And with those, he'd built ships and a thriving business. He'd built a home worthy of a successful man. And soon, after he'd ridden out of woods that belonged to him, he'd sit by the fire in that home, Poole Manor, put his feet up and have a glass of whiskey. But now he enjoyed the ride, the solitude, and the time for reflection. He'd built a family as well, and had such pride in them. More, and it surprised him, even more pride than he had in his business, his great house, the village below that carried his name. The scrappy boy from London. And he felt joy that his eldest son, 4 minutes ahead of his twin, had asked for the hand of Astrid Granville. Not simply because she came from a good family, a wealthy family, but because she had a spine and mixed it with a sweetness. And above all, she loved his son, and he loved her. He could see it, feel it, and felt that joy in knowing it. Colin would marry for love. He hadn't, Arthur thought. He'd married for need, for ambition, for the wealth that came with the wife. But he had grown to love, and deeply. Perhaps it had been the birth of their first children, Colin and Connor, that had opened that part of him. And as years passed, as the family grew, so did his love for the woman who made that family with him. Now, older and wiser, he was content to slowly turn the reins of the business over to his sons. Good, bright, steady young men, both of them. And he could and did trust his eldest to tend to his siblings when the time came for it, to make a home, as he had in Poole Manor. But today wasn't about a far-flung future. He had more ships to build, plans to expand the manor again. After all, he'd have grandchildren coming before too much longer. The thought made him laugh at himself. Wedding first. He gave his mount a pat on her long neck. And we'll see to it the manor shines like a jewel for it. The most important wedding Poole's Bay has ever seen. The woman stepped onto the path, so he had to pull up his horse. The woman dressed in black, her black hair a tumble rather than modestly restrained, and her dark eyes full of uncanny light. He knew her, Hester Dobbs. He knew her for a witch. A chill ran through him as she smiled. Woman, you have no place here. I will have my place here, in these woods, in the grand grounds before them, in the manor that rises over the sea. I will have all. Go back to your cottage, woman, and stir your witch's brew. Oh, I have, Arthur Poole. I have. And your son drank that brew, thinking it was no more than a cup of water after a long ride. And when he did, I bedded him in my cottage in the deep woods. Rage rose up. I can have you hanged for it. But you won't. She stepped closer to him, laid a light hand on the horse's neck. I tell you now, Colin Poole, your firstborn, your heir, is mine. As these woods will be mine, and I will be mistress of the manor for all time.
And I tell you, you will have nothing. You will not touch my son again, and I will make certain of it. I will see you dragged from your cottage, banished from Pools Bay. You will have nothing of mine, and never will you step foot in my home as long as I live."
"This is true. This I know. I have seen it, and so."
She lifted her hands.
"In this place I call the wind, and as it blows, your life I end."
The horse shied as the wind swirled, as it moaned like a wounded man and sent leaves spinning. With a curse, Arthur controlled it.
"Be damned to you, witch!"
Arthur shouted it, but Dobbs continued.
"Father to son, the manor will pass, and under my spell he will do all I ask. With my power your life I take. Now turn and bend and break."
His head turned at an odd angle on his neck. For an instant, his eyes, pool green, bulged, and his mouth opened as if to gasp for air. Then something cracked, a hideous sound, and he fell, limp and lifeless, to the ground. With a laugh, she gave the horse a swat to send the mare running down the path. Stepping over, Dobbs looked down at Arthur.
"You thought you could stand against me. Keep me from what I desire. Your death only brings me closer to what is mine, what will always be mine."
She lifted her arms again, turned in the swirling wind.
"I am and will be mistress of the manor. All who stand against me will meet death."
She started to slip back into the woods, then turned her head sharply. Her eyes looked mad, wild and mad, as they stared down the path where Sonia stood by the mirror.
No one there. No one. And yet,
as if in pain, Dobbs lifted a hand to her temple, pressed.
7. 7? A number of power. 7. What does it matter?
She looked back at Arthur's body and smiled.
"They'll find him here, and mourn and grieve, and I will feast on their tears."
As she gathered the skirts of her dress around her, Dobbs slipped into the trees. Shivering in the brisk air, Sonia stood as she was, and shed the first tear for Arthur Poole. "I come from you. You were standing up for your son, your family, your home. So will I." She stepped back through the mirror, into the warm where her faithful dog waited. She crouched down, gathered him to her for comfort, and to wait until the dizziness passed. It would, she thought. It would pass, just as the mirror no longer stood on the path. Still holding Yoda, she rose, walked back to where Arthur Poole's body had fallen. "They found you here. Worried. Had to be worried when your horse came back without you. So they looked for you and found you here and thought it was an accident. They never knew what she'd done. But I know now. It matters, I know now." She walked back out of the woods while her head cleared and the leading edge of the horror dulled. She went inside, splashed cold water on her face. Clover tried bad companies all right now. Yeah, mostly all right now. Need a few more minutes. She gave Yoda a treat, and because Pie came out as if to say, "Where the hell have you been?" she gave the cat a couple. Then she sat, texted Trey. "I know you and Owen plan to work on Cleo's boat tonight, but can you both come? I'm fine. I'm okay, but I went through the mirror again and saw something. I need to tell you in person. I'm fine, I promise, but I need to tell you."
"We'll be there. Is Cleo with you?"
"Not right now, but she will be. I'm going back to work. I wouldn't if I wasn't okay. And I promise I wouldn't tell you I was if I wasn't. I just need to tell you."
"We'll be there. Tell Cleo not to cook. We'll bring something. Work if it helps, otherwise take a break."
"I took one. That's how it started. Don't worry. Bring pizza." She added that in hopes it would help ease the worry she knew he felt.
"Done. By 6, earlier if you need."
6. She added a pizza emoji, then a heart. Back at her desk, Sonia wrote it all out while the details stayed fresh. It seemed to her they'd stay fresh forever, but she documented. Maybe someday she'd put everything she'd documented since moving into the manor into a book, like Deuce Doyle had done for Colin on the family genealogy. A kind of legacy, she thought, for those who came after her. For now, she filed what she'd written, then pushed her mind into work. Work could stand as sanctuary as well as purpose. Later, when Yoda scrambled out from under her desk to run downstairs, she shut down. She started down the steps as Cleo came in carting her gorilla box she used for supplies and carrying wet canvases.
What a day! I nearly finished one painting, then had to stop to sketch this kid. 3, maybe 4. Sailing in a little sloop with it had to be his mom. I swear he looked like he'd woken up on a day that melded Christmas, his birthday, and Halloween together. I haven't forgotten about dinner, she continued. I'll throw us something together. I lost track of time, which is when you know it's really going well.
Trey and Owen are bringing pizza. About 6.
Oh.
Cleo pulled the band out of her hair, shook out her curls.
I thought it was just you and me tonight, but pizza sounds... Shit. Something happened.
It did. Not Dobbs, or not one of her tantrums. The mirror. I went through it again.
Damn it, Sonia, why didn't you call me or text? I'd have come right back.
Exactly, and I promise no need for that. Go on, put your things away. I'm going to pour us both some wine.
This can wait.
I need time to get my head out of work mode and into this anyway. It's nearly 6, so by the time you finish, they should be here.
And you only have to go through it once,
Cleo concluded.
Okay, I won't be long.
Case in hand, Cleo jogged up the steps, and Sonia turned to the portrait of Astrid Poole. You didn't know? You, your Colin, his twin, his sisters, Arthur's widow. You didn't know he'd been murdered? Just an obstacle for Dobbs to remove. If you had, somehow you might have lived. She started back, pausing at the music room to study the portraits. It would all have been different, she thought. But the first domino fell with Arthur Poole. In the kitchen, she opened a bottle of wine and stood looking back at the woods. So peaceful just now, and so welcoming in the green of spring. She'd walk there again, she promised herself that. She wouldn't let Hester Dobbs block her from any part of what was hers. When she heard dogs barking, she turned back to pour the wine. Trey came straight back, and after setting pizza boxes on the island, took her face in his hands. He gave her a long, careful study, then nodded.
Okay?
Yes, okay. There's beer in the butler's pantry, she told Owen. He took 2 out of a 6-pack, then took the rest to the pantry fridge.
Now there's more. I can go through the mirror,
he pointed out.
I could be here inside 15 minutes.
I couldn't wait. I mean that literally. Let's get started on this pizza. Now that you're here, I realize I'm starved. And here's Cleo. When she came in, Owen tapped a finger to her hand.
Missed a spot.
Cleo glanced down at a smear of red paint.
I'll get it later. Now, Son, you can tell us what happened without interruption.
By the time they sat, she had the narrative clear in her head and a lot of appreciation for 3 people who understood her. I'm going to start at the beginning, which has nothing to do with the mirror. Lane and Matt, they own By Design where I used to work, called. They wanted to congratulate me on the writer account and to let me know word had gotten back to them on the crap Brandon pulled before my presentation and that he no longer works for By Design.
Well, I absolutely drink to that.
And Cleo did. He maligned me and my work in his presentation, something Miranda Ryder didn't care for. Then he lied to Lane and Matt about that and about what happened between him and me, so he's out.
If he takes a step toward you, or continues to badmouth you personally or professionally, I need to know about it.
And you will, she assured Trey. I promise. That door's been closed and bolted on my side for nearly a year. If he can't do the same on his side, she shrugged, he's going to end up taking more lumps. After, I just wanted to clear my head, and Yoda needed a walk, so I took him out back. Everything looks so good. All the work we did, just so beautiful, so satisfying. I wanted to check out the herbs before I went back to work, and I saw Yoda walking into the woods. I called him back, but he kept going. He always comes when I call him. She paused, drank. He went right in while I'm running back there, calling him. I could hear him barking, and I thought he must be chasing a rabbit or squirrel. Then I felt it. She took a breath, closed her eyes a moment. That tug, then the pull. The path turned, and there was Yoda. He sat in front of the mirror on the path.
Something happened in the woods, Trey concluded, and you needed to see it.
Yeah. The glass was blurred, and I could hear hoofbeats. Distant, but I could hear them. I had to go in. I was worried about leaving Yoda, but it's irresistible. I told him to stay, and he lay down like, sure, I'll wait. And I went through.
Eat something.
Trey nudged her plate and the slice she hadn't touched closer. With a nod, she took a bite and felt it ease the stress in her head, the hunger in her belly. I was still there, on the path, but it wasn't spring. Fall, chilly, brisk, leaves gone red and gold and orange. But more than that, I could, like in one of the dreams, hear what he was thinking, almost like he was telling me.
Who?
Cleo demanded. Arthur Poole. She told them detail by detail. He was thinking of his family, she continued, of expanding the manor, as he hoped to have grandchildren before much longer. Then she stepped on the path. Dobbs. They didn't see me. They were 10 or 12 feet away, but didn't see me. He called her a witch, told her to get off his land. She told him she'd tricked his son Colin into drinking a potion. That's how she got him into bed.
She bespelled him, Cleo murmured. Then she tried to use that as a claim to the manor. He was the eldest, so he'd inherit. But he's engaged, or maybe about to be, right? That complicates things, so she tries sex.
Owen reached for another slice.
But it didn't do the trick. It wasn't an accident,
Trey concluded.
Arthur Poole didn't die in an accident.
He was furious. He looked so formidable. Then she brought the wind. He controlled his horse, but she said these words. As Sonia repeated them, Cleo pulled out her phone to note them down. And she twisted her hands, like you would when you're wringing something out. I heard it. God, I heard his neck break. Then he fell. To give herself a moment to steady again, she lifted her wine glass. She slapped the horse, and the mare ran down the path toward the manor. She ran right by me like I wasn't there. Dobbs looked crazy. She had all along, but now she looked jubilant and crazy. He'd been in her way. Now he was dead, and she'd be mistress of the manor forever. She started to go back into the woods, but she stopped, looked over where I was standing. She didn't see me. She said like a question, 7? She said it again and again, said it was a number of power, but I could see she didn't understand. And it was like she had a sudden headache. Sonia pressed her hand to her temple. She looked confused and just stark raving mad. She went back in the woods and looked at him, at Arthur Poole. I realized his family would never know she'd murdered him. Later, I realized Colin probably never knew she'd used witchcraft to get him into bed.
So guilt on top of grief played a part in his suicide,
Trey concluded. I really think so. I came back through. It was spring. Yoda was waiting. The mirror was gone. She picked up the slice, set it down again. I know it's important to understand what really happened, but it feels so damn useless when there's nothing we can do to change it, stop it.
It's always better to know than not,
Trey told her.
I can wish you weren't the conduit, but that's the reality of it. You accumulate knowledge.
Owen got up to get himself and Trey another beer.
And knowledge is power.
So, accumulated knowledge from this latest adventure. Cleo ticked off fingers.
Colin Poole didn't roll around with Dobbs of his own free will. Dobbs murdered Arthur Poole. For Dobbs, it was always about the manor, not the people. They were just obstacles or stepping stones.
like the day in the library. I was awake, aware. It felt dreamlike on the other side, but I was awake and aware.
After Poole was dead,
Trey continued.
and she wasn't focused on him, she sensed something. Sensed you without knowing what or who.
I hadn't been born yet, but I was there in that time and place, and awake, aware.
Exactly. Despite what she'd done, Colin Poole married Astrid Granville. But that day on the path, she didn't know she'd kill Astrid, take her ring, create the curse.
I can only think she believed she could force or seduce Colin into marrying her so she could have the manor. It was and is what she wants, to be mistress of the manor.
Forever. You told us she said forever,
Trey added. Yes, but
she always intended to have it, to hold it. If it took her death, her blood to do that, forever, clearly she'd do whatever she needed to do. I imagine she didn't see it happening so soon, but nobody lives forever. She's batshit.
Owen took another pull of his beer.
No one can argue that one, but...
Cleo held up a hand.
Could she have foreseen that Astrid and all the ones who came after her would stay?
I don't think so.
This house, it has a power of its own, and it doesn't want her.
It doesn't, Sonia murmured. It doesn't want her.
It must burn for her to know that,
Cleo continued.
To know people, the spirits of them, go on day and night, tending to it, while she's trapped in a hell of her own making.
She can't break the spell, Sonia said slowly. Or she's gone. She tied herself with her own words, her own blood magic. Every generation, and a bride. She sealed that with Astrid's blood, then her own. She's as caught in that cycle as the brides she killed.
She hopes to scare you out, push you out,
Trey said.
You're a threat. It may be a hell of her own making, a cycle she's trapped in, but it's what she has.
7. She repeated it. Maybe she got it from me. Maybe I thought of the rings, the women, the brides, and how it started with the murder of Arthur Poole. She sensed me or something. Maybe she sensed that too. It confused her, and I swear it hurt her.
Looks like we have to find a way to hurt her again, and harder.
Cleo smiled at Owen.
I like the way you think.
Clover weighed in with Aerosmith and Don't Get Mad, Get Even. Words to live by. Sonia picked up the pizza she'd barely touched and ate. Chapter 27. The day before the event, they had a foyer full of flowers. Cleo had a ham in the oven and her fingers crossed. They'd put together a simple buffet menu for family in what they hoped would serve as a prelude to the feast the next day. Every inch of the manor shined. They arranged and rearranged tables and chairs outside and lit countless candles and hoped that the forecast for the next day, sunny, low 70s, held. Sonia hauled flowers upstairs to place arrangements. Hours of debate on those, where they'd selected. When the doorbell bonged, she nearly ignored it. Dobbs's rumblings had been few the last couple of days, but that remained one of her favorites. Then she remembered Yoda had gone down to the apartment with Cleo, so she couldn't count on his bark to tell her. She opened it, found Winter. "Mom! I came a little early to help, whether you need it or not." Scanning the foyer, Winter laughed. "Are you sure you got enough flowers?" "Mom," Sonia said again and threw her arms around her mother. "You're by yourself? I thought—" "I convoyed with your grandparents, and they headed straight to the hotel. They wanted to unpack, settle in a bit." She wheeled her weekender aside. "Summer and Martin are driving with your other set. They're all coming. Now put me to work." "I absolutely will, but let's get your bag upstairs first." Cleo took flowers to the apartment. Her parents and grandmother are staying there tonight and tomorrow night before they head back on their road trip. She started to pick up Winter's suitcase, was brushed aside, so grabbed more flowers. "I can't believe they're driving all the way from Louisiana and back." Melly, Cleo's mom, told me they wanted to see some sights. And according to the texts and photos they've sent to Cleo, they're having a hell of a good time. "That's the word," Winter agreed. Everything looks fabulous, Sonia. The tree in full bloom out front, that enormous rhododendron, they're just spectacular. As they passed the library, Sonia's tablet played 3 Dog Nights, Joy to the World. Winters sent a look back over her shoulder. I guess you've gotten used to that. Not just used to, I love it. You have to see the view from your room with the gardens blooming. When they went in, Winter walked to the window. Talk about spectacular. You and Cleo did this? A lot. Most, really, was already done. The perennials. But we did the pots, planters, the annuals. I loved that, too. Who knew? You've made a home, baby. I knew it when I was here before, but if I had any lingering doubts, they're gone. And the squatter on the 3rd floor? That's a good one. Squatter. We're not going to worry about her. Why don't I help you unpack? Then we'll go down and fix you a snack? I'm here to help, not be waited on. I'll unpack, and when I'm done, I'll help you with that ocean of flowers. All right. I'm nearly done up here. When you're unpacked, we can start on the main level. When Winter came down, Sonia handed her a vase. Casual dining table. I'm putting these 3 low ones on the formal dining table. Cleo should be back in by now, so we'll start there. Give me one of those. Now we've each got 2. Something smells amazing. Flowers, and we hope the ham Cleo's doing. Wonders really do never cease. Oh. Winter stopped at the music room. Your father's work again. Yes, Joanna, Clover, Lisbeth, and Agatha. It's stunning, and it's also strange. And yet I can see him. I can see Drew standing there in front of the canvas with his palette, his brushes. Still the one played on Sonia's phone. Yes, Winter murmured. He is. As they walked into the kitchen, Cleo was opening the oven to check on her ham. What? Nobody tells me put those flowers down and give me my hug. We've got a gallon of iced tea if you want, Cleo said as she got and gave the hug. Or we can get you some wine. I'll start with that iced tea. You're making a ham. A whole big-ass ham. Cleo said it with glee. Bree said if I don't screw it up and there's any left over, she can make it work for tomorrow. The size of that ham? Sonia poured iced tea. There'll be leftovers. I already made a card for it. Cleo's honey-glazed ham from the manor. Then I really better not screw it up. They placed flowers, then helped Cleo quarter potatoes for roasting. Cleo pulled the enormous glazed ham out of the oven, set it aside to rest. They arranged a bar in the butler's pantry and worked on a colorful platter of crudité. I have to say, it's nice seeing you girls work together in the kitchen. I won't worry about you going hungry. Yoda raced to the front door before Sonia heard it open, then raced back with Mookie. Oh, look at this dog, aren't you something? Look how Yoda's introducing me to his friend. Mookie sat and looked up at Winter with eyes full of desperate love. When Trey came in, Winter stopped crooning to the dogs and gave him a long, assessing look. Mom, this is Trey Doyle. I've seen his picture on the law office's website, along with this handsome boy. Winter McTavish. It's nice to meet you. He took the extended hand, and he smiled. I see you in her. I saw her father because I knew Colin. Now I see you too. I can't look out for her anymore. Do you? Mom, seriously? When she'll let me. That's a very good answer. The dogs raced. The doorbell bonged. I'll get that. When she opened the door, it was Cleo's turn to throw her arms around her mother, then her father, then her grandmother. In the kitchen, Sonia heard the excited mix of French and English. That's Cleo's mom, dad, grandmother. Trey, why don't you get my mother a glass of wine? She likes the Pinot Grigio. Sure. When he went into the butler's pantry, Sonia shot a finger at her mother. Winter just smiled. Melly came in first. She didn't have Cleo's stature, and her hair was true black and pin straight, but she passed on her eyes, tawny and tipped at the corners. She hugged Winter first, said, then embraced Sonia the same way as Trey came back with a glass of wine. My goodness, aren't you handsome? I'll give you a hug, too, if you give me a glass of that. Melly Faberé, Trey Doyle. Well, now, Sonia, I see your taste in men has improved considerably. Went to look at our girls living in this big, old, beautiful house. I think it must take half a day to walk from one end of it to the other. When Trey brought in more wine, Melly kept her word, hugged him. Got yourself a good, solid build there, too. Jackson, you come on back here and bring Mama.
She's taking a time with Cleo.
Jackson, a tall beanpole of a man, came in, offered his slow, shy smile. He kissed Winter's cheek, then Sonia's before shaking hands with Trey.
Jackson Fabry, Cleo's daddy. Trey Doyle, it's nice meeting you. Can I get you a drink? Wouldn't say no to a beer if you got one handy. Something sure smells good in here.
Cleo baked a ham, Winter told him.
She did what now?
He asked while Melly let out a bark of laughter.
She makes a damn good meatloaf,
Trey added, and handed Jackson a beer.
I might just have to sit down. This sure is some place you got here, Sonia. Some place.
Imogene B. LaRue Tamora, long-legged and lanky on the cusp of 70, stood inside the music room with her granddaughter. She had a mane of wild butterscotch curls that time had liberally streaked with white. She credited her remarkably smooth, dusky skin to the melting pot of her genetics and a life well lived. Her eyes, caught somewhere between brown and gold, studied the room. She wore her traveling jeans and a red t-shirt with low-top Converse sneakers of the same bold color. Half a dozen chains bearing crystals and ankh, symbols of sun and moon, hung around her neck. On her right hand, she wore a wide silver band carved with the astrological sign for Libra, and a moonstone cabochon on her middle finger. A widow for 12 years, she wore her wedding ring, a hammered gold band on her left. Her left biceps bore a tattoo of the fivefold symbol.
They look out for you, these and more, and look to you, you and Sonia, these and more. This house is full, Cher, sorrow and joy, blood and sweat, tears and laughter, as a house so long in years must be.
Her voice, fluid and rich, carried the easy flow of her native New Orleans.
This is a good house, a good, strong house, my fee. I know it and feel it, but it makes it better and stronger to hear you say it. Still, it holds a powerful dark force.
Imogene glanced up as she spoke.
Greedy and mad with that greed. It wants your fear.
Doing my best not to accommodate. Imogene smiled.
You got a head on your shoulders, my boo, and always did. I got some things for you. Your daddy, and I credit my girl for picking such a man as Jackson, didn't complain not one time along this way about the weight of what I had him haul down.
He loves you, my G. Imogene smiled at Cleo's childhood endearment.
I love him back with cake and ice cream. Now you take this.
Imogene lifted one of the chains from around her neck. Oh, but that's your special tourmaline, the one Paul gave you.
Now we're giving it to you. It's protection, chérie, and powerful strong as it comes with love.
She hung the chain with its 3 thick black stones around Cleo's neck.
Love's a circle, when true never ends. A circle protects against what wants to bring harm. Hold your circle, Cleo.
Imogene glanced back as Owen paused in the doorway, and her smile lit like the sun.
Why, there you are. I wondered when you'd come along. You're a looker, aren't you, boy?
You sure are,
he said, and made her laugh.
You must be Cleo's mom.
On a laugh, Imogene fanned herself, flooded her lashes.
I do believe I'm in love.
As Owen grinned back, Cleo shook her head. This is my grandma, Imogene Tamora, Owen Poole.
Get out,
was Owen's sincere response.
Now I know it's love. So this is Owen Poole who builds boats and ships. Building one for my bebe, I hear.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there's no mammon between us. It's Imogene or my grandbaby's turn that to Magie. You pick one of those and come over here and give me a kiss.
Once he did, she slipped an arm through his.
Now, I believe I'm ready for a cocktail. Do you know how to mix up a whiskey sour?
I can learn.
Then I'll show you how it's done.
Sonia had imagined it and hoped for it, seeing and feeling the manor filling up with family. Her mother chatted away with Melly, and now that her aunt and uncle had arrived with her maternal grandparents, Summer joined that chat fest. Jackson and her uncle had wandered outside with the dogs. With a glass of wine, her grandfather, an avid gardener, did the same. At her grandmother's request, Sonia gave her a tour of the house, or some of it, before dinner. Louisa Bain Riley, a formidable woman, had let her hair go silver and kept it short, sharp as a blade. She wore glasses with frames of searing blue, discreet diamond studs, a straight-lined navy dress with white piping and low-heeled Pradas. As they toured the first floor, she made non-committal noises, gave a few approving nods. If Sonia knew anything, she knew her grandmother was a hard nut to crack. But when they reached the library, Louisa stopped, held up a hand as she studied the room. "Well," the single word held her straight-laced Boston roots. "Well," she repeated and turned to Sonia. "You found your place, haven't you?" And the tension in Sonia's shoulders dissolved. "Yes, I have. I had my doubts, as I'm sure you know." "You're nothing if not honest in your opinions, Grammy." "I am, and I had my doubts about the choices you've made in the last few months. You're a talented young woman, Sonia, with an exceptional work ethic. I worried you'd made these choices due to your unfortunate experience." "Was it unfortunate?" Louisa's lips curved very slightly. "I have to forgive Tracy. She's my grandchild. I don't excuse her abhorrent behavior, but I have to forgive her. One day you may as well. Without excusing her, she did you a monumental favor. I dislike more than I can say that I was duped by that person, whom I refuse to call a man. But seeing you here, takes a bit of the sting away." Clover added her opinion by playing Beyoncé's Ring the Alarm on the tablet. "That's unusual." "Not around here. So I've heard. I've never believed in that business." She brushed a hand over the desk. "Still, your home is full of character and history, and beautiful things well cared for. By all appearances, you're happy in both the work you've chosen and the direction you've taken with it. You're my grandchild, and I love you, so what more could I want for you?" "That means a lot to me, Grammy." "You can show me the rest later, as it's clear that will take some time. I've barely said 2 words to the rest of your guests." The doorbell sounded as they started down. "That must be Nan and Grandpa. Everyone else is here." Sonia answered and went straight into hugs. Her grandfather, big and broad-shouldered. Her grandmother, delicate and petite. She felt her grandmother tremble, just a little, and understood this visit was bittersweet. "I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to see you." John smiled, stroked her hair.
"Got yourself a mansion here, little girl. It's a whopper."
"It really is."
"I hope we're not late."
Sonia looked at her grandmother, the sweet heart-shaped face, the quiet blue eyes struggling to hold back tears. "You're not. It's family."
"Martha, John, it's lovely to see you."
Louisa offered cheek kisses, then took John's arm.
"John, I'm more than ready for a glass of wine if you'll take me back. The house is a maze, but I know the way. And how was your winter in Savannah?" she continued as she led him away.
Her Grammy might be brutally honest, Sonia thought, but she also understood another woman's pain.
"It's a beautiful house, Sonia. Like something out of a painting or a movie. You always wanted a rambling old house."
"I did." Sonia hugged her again and held on for a moment. "I want to show you something." With an arm around Martha's waist, she led her down the long hall.
"Oh, it's so much house, isn't it? And so beautiful. No wonder you're happy here. We're happy for you, Sonia, so happy you—" "Oh."
At the music room, with the sound of voices rolling down from the kitchen, they stopped.
"Oh, I see. I see Drew and her smile. So young, so pretty. And she looks kind."
The tears came now, slowly, softly. She would have loved him. Loved them both. We would. I know, Nan. Believe me, she knows you gave Dad what she couldn't. The phone in Sonia's pocket went with, "Loves me like a rock." We loved him so much. Drew was such a loved and loving son. A loved and loving husband and father. I hope she knows what a good, good man he grew up to be. She does, Nan. I'm sure of it. So young, Martha said again. Sonia, could you give me a minute or two? I'd like to sit here for just a minute or two. Of course. Just follow the voices when you're ready. Take all the time you need. Alone, Martha sat, dried her eyes, then looked into the eyes of the portrait. I wish we'd known about you and Charlie. If we'd known, we would have told him about you. If we'd known, we would have loved his brother just as much. As she struggled for composure again, the phone in her purse played, "Martha, my dear." She jolted, then pressed her lips together. I see him in you. Thank you for the greatest gift, the most precious gift. Pausing, Martha folded her hands. Drew was always a bright boy. Not always a good boy, but who wants that? He took his first steps at 10 months. Then there was no stopping him. He liked grape popsicles and matchbox cars. And drawing. He always loved to draw and color. She cleared her throat. Once, he was only 3. He got the crayons. Those big, thick ones. I'd put them up where I didn't think he could reach. But I should have known better. He could climb like a monkey. She had to stop another moment, fight back more tears. He drew pictures all over the wall in his bedroom. I thought he was napping. Again, I should have known better. Drew was so proud I couldn't get mad at him. John and I didn't paint over it for years. And when we did, John cut out a section and patched the drywall. And we framed the piece we saved. I still have it. She sighed, and when she drew in a breath, drew in the scent of wildflowers, like a meadow basking in sunlight. There's so much more I could tell you. I wrote some out, some memories. Opening her bag, Martha took out a manila envelope, thick with pages. But most of all, I want you to know he was loved from the first second they put him in our arms. He was loved. He was a beautiful boy who became a beautiful man. And he was loved. She rose, set the envelope on the piano. She jolted again when the phone in her purse played Alanis Morissette's "Thank You." Then she smiled. Cleo's ham proved a success, with enough left over to feed everyone again, twice. Sonia got exactly what she'd hoped for, an easy evening with family that blended well. She watched Cleo's grandmother flirt outrageously with Owen, and Trey simply slide in with the various personalities as if he'd known them all his life. A much better choice, Louisa muttered to her at some point. But I'll save my full approval until after I meet his family tomorrow. Something that never happened with that person. She patted Sonia's hand. He has honest eyes. They took a walk around the gardens, people and pets, with the lights twinkling just as she'd imagined. When she kissed her grandparents goodnight, she saw no tears in Martha's eyes. We needed this. Martha gave her an extra squeeze. To see, to really understand. I left a long letter for Drew's birth mother in the music room, on the piano. Silly of me. I think you'd like to have it. When the rest left, and Cleo went down to help her family settle into the apartment, Sonia's mother sat with Trey and Owen in the parlor. Sonia walked back to the music room, but saw nothing on the piano. Her phone told her why with Carole King's "Child of Mine." All right, she murmured. You have it, and I hope it brings you some joy. As she walked back into the parlor, Winter rose. I just promised these two a big pancake breakfast in the morning to get them started on what's going to be a long day. This was the perfect prelude, my baby, especially for Drew's mom and dad. They needed this bridge. Nan spent some time with Clover. She left a letter on the piano in the music room, but it's not there, so I guess Clover spent some time with her. I may not ever get used to that, but I'm going to say good. Now, I'm going to follow along with these dogs sprawled on the floor and the cat curled up on that chair and get some sleep. She bent down, kissed Owen's cheek, then Trey's before she walked over to hug Sonia. I'll see you all in the morning. As Winter went out, started upstairs, Trey glanced at the doorway.
Well, she's amazing.
Sonia plopped into a chair. She is. And this next stage of the event is successfully done. So, Owen, you aren't planning to run off with Cleo's grandmère, are you?
Tempting. She's all that and an ice cold beer. She's got some stories, man, and knows how to tell them. Nice group. Your grandmother, the tall one, she's a little scary.
Tell me about it.
She liked me.
Trey's smile reeked of satisfaction.
She Googled me and decided I might do.
Oh, God, sorry.
I kind of liked her little bit scary style. An interesting evening to be a part of. One thing's for certain, they all enjoyed it and each other.
Cleo came in, dropped down, said, "Whew! Are they settled in?" Sonia asked.
They are. My grandmère brought us a box of about 24 bottles. Witch bottles to hang. Good mojo. And some more white sage cones she made herself. Candles ditto. A gorgeous hunk of fluorite. Another of rose quartz, a pretty brass gong for when we meditate. I didn't knock on you and tell her you never manage over 10 seconds.
I made it to 30 once.
You'd been drinking,
Cleo reminded her.
Doesn't count. She put crystals and candles around the apartment before she unpacked her clothes, and my father gave me a list of more plants he tells me we need. My mama just oohed and awed over everything. She said to tell your mama she'd help with breakfast in the morning. She's gone up to bed. That's a damn good idea. I'm going to do the same.
She pushed up, tossed her hair, then gave Owen her arched eyebrow look.
Interested? Am I alive?
He got up and so did Jones, then the cat.
Job well done,
Cleo said to Sonia.
See y'all in the morning before a reasonable hour.
I'm still a little wired, Sonia realized. You might be able to help with that.
Bet I could.
She pulled the tie from her hair, slipped it on one wrist as she ran her other hand through. You know what I noticed tonight?
There was a lot going on.
There really was, she agreed. But I noticed just how easily you slid right into all of it. Didn't take you 2 minutes. You're just good with people.
It helps to be when you deal with them on a daily basis.
Not just deal with. You like people.
By and large, don't you?
By and large fits, I guess. I'm not shy, and I like the interaction, but I'm not sure how I'd deal if I couldn't balance that with the quiet time. Which I like more than I realized I would when I worked in an office. Tomorrow, really looking forward to it. All those people, all that interaction. But then I'll be glad to sock myself back into the quiet and the work.
Another reason this house fits you like a glove.
You're right, it does. Everything, one exception, suits me to the ground. I loved showing it off to my family, which gained me Grammy's very hard-won approval. Louisa.
I got it. Grammy Louisa, Nan Martha, Granddad Bill, Grandpa John.
You would get it. And I expect after meeting your family tomorrow, you'll also get Grammy's very hard-won approval. If that matters.
It always matters.
He trailed his fingers through her loosened hair.
She loves you. They all do. And everyone here loves Cleo. It doesn't always work that way, believe me. But I know when it does. My family loves Owen. His loves me. It adds the special when it works.
You're right about that, too. Now, about helping me smooth things out.
I've got some ideas.
Rising, he pulled her to her feet. I'm counting on it. She woke at 3, wired again. But she didn't feel the pull, felt no need to get up, to walk.
Okay.
Trey reached for her hand. Yes. Still, she nestled close to him as the chime of the clock echoed away, as the weeping drifted like the piano music. She heard nothing from the 3rd floor, and closed her eyes again, grateful. It wouldn't last, she knew. But maybe with so much positive energy, they'd get another day, another night. Because tomorrow, no matter what came, they'd open the house and fill it again. Chapter 28. In the morning, Winter, Melly, and Imogene took over the kitchen. They allowed any who wandered in to get coffee, then summarily booted them out. Booted, Sonia listened to the mix of voices, a lot of laughter, and the occasional musical interlude from Clover. While it wasn't anything she imagined, she realized she wanted this too, wanted to listen to a group of women laughing in her kitchen. With their own agenda, she and Cleo began dressing tables with the hot pink cloths they'd chosen. In lieu of centerpieces or formal arrangements, they placed pale blue mini mason jars to hold single, fat, colorful blooms, peonies, dahlias, hydrangeas. They drafted whatever male came within shouting distance to haul out more tables, more chairs.
"Hey, all y'all!"
Melly shouted out the window.
"This big old platter just came up on the dumbwaiter thing, all by itself. This is one wild house. Breakfast in 10.
They feasted in the dining room, with platters and bowls spread over the big table. Pancakes, bacon, eggs, biscuits, berries, hash browns, and grits, as Imogene decreed no breakfast complete without them. Sonia crossed another want off her list, a big family breakfast in the dining room. Then they got back to work. With their delivery, they placed the portable bars according to Bree's chart. Sonia found the flurry of activity, the busy hands, the mix of ideas exhilarating. When she saw Imogene and her gangly son-in-law hanging witch bottles from tree branches, or her mother and Melly designing a tablescape for the dining room, she wondered how she and Cleo had ever imagined they could do all of it alone. A last-minute decision to add some conversation areas to the front had Trey and Owen searching through storage. Then Bree arrived with 2 servers and the rented dishes and glassware.
I got my outfit and all in my car. You got a place I can change after we're set up?
Absolutely, She cut Sonia off with a wave.
Later for that. I need the bar stocked. Misty and Wayne, get cracking. Follow the chart. You've got enough hands around here to cart out and set up the plates, the flatware. You've got that chart. We have all your charts, Cleo told her. Good. I want to see what you've got out there. So, tall guy. Jackson, he said and offered a hand. She shook it. Bree, how about hauling some of these plates out there? I'll show you where once I see.
She grabbed a carton of dessert plates and led the way.
Okay, this is good. Looks good. Jackson, that table there. Under it for now. We're going to do 4 stacks of 25 dinner plates, same with dessert plates. When they get low, servers will bring up more. Kitchen crew will take care of washing and sending more out as needed. Flatware.
We found these cute lined baskets. Bree frowned at Sonia.
Let me see them.
While Sonia scrambled back for them, Bree worked her way along.
Hot dishes here, replenished as needed, salads and whatnot, breads, rolls, your condiments, desserts over there. This is good. You did good. This'll work.
Obviously satisfied with the arrangements, she paused.
So, who is everybody? The tall guy bringing out more dishes is my father. The woman right behind him with, I guess it's dessert plates, is my mother Melly. She's got to be a foot shorter than him. 14 inches as I recall. And there, the woman coming out with Sonia's her mother, Winter. Got it. Who's the smoking chick coming out of the apartment? My grandma. Like grandmother? Hot grandma. You got some lucky DNA in there.
She took one of the baskets from Sonia, studied it, nodded.
Okay, all right. These are nice. They'll work fine. Hi, Sonia's mom. Bree.
Winter. I've heard you're an amazing chef and organizer.
I am all that. She's got your hair. More lucky DNA. Okay. Wait, where are Trey and Owen?
They're getting some chairs or benches or whatever works to set out front. A couple conversation areas, Sonia explained.
I'll take a look when they've got it set up. So, here's the schedule.
Since she had it down to the minute, Sonia wasn't sure whether to be relieved or terrified. Bree approved the conversation areas, and Owen decreed all of it went back inside when the day ended. They hauled, set up, hauled some more, and as intimidated as impressed with Bree's efficiency, Sonia showed her coordinator a guest room, then dashed to her own to change for the party.
She's terrifying, Sonia said when Trey came in.
I love her.
Given that, you must mean Bree. Nice dress, cutie. Really nice.
Is it not too much? She studied the look of the pale green dress in the mirror. Sleeveless, it had a square neckline she thought suited her, and an easy, fluid skirt that would dance around her knees.
It's just right.
You'd say that even if it wasn't. Which is just as well, because by Bree's clock, I've only got 10 minutes left. You've only got 10 minutes to change.
Okay.
I hate that. With genuine feeling, she pushed at her hair. Just hate that you can get ready in 10 minutes. I was thinking about wearing my hair down, but...
I like it down.
Fine, settled. But now I need different earrings. What are you wearing?
Clothes?
Oh, shut up. Laughing, she changed her earrings. He went with dark gray jeans, a pale blue shirt, and managed to get ready 3 full minutes before her. I really hate that.
But you look amazing.
He laid his hands on her shoulders from behind, kissed the top of her head. She turned, started to lift her mouth to his, then nudged him back. No time. I don't know what she'll do if we get off schedule, and I don't want to find out. Grabbing his hand, she pulled him into the hall, just as Owen stepped out of Cleo's room.
She's still in there, fooling around.
No, she can't. Schedule. When Sonia dashed into the room, Owen just shrugged.
She asked me which dress. She had 2 and went with the one I didn't pick.
Trey only nodded.
Don't be insulted. Trust me, I've got a sister. Let's head down where we can probably be useful.
Bree, the general to the army she'd amassed, had everything under control. The vision Sonia and Cleo had imagined for the first opening of the manor came to vivid life, with flowers, music, the glint of silver and copper and glass under clear blue skies. Family came early as requested, because family, as Sonia saw it, was the heartbeat of the manor. Guests arrived in a trickle, then a flood, and as she'd wanted, wished for, the manor filled. She enjoyed seeing her mother laughing with the Doyles, and her aunt in deep conversation with Anna. She split tour guide duty with Cleo and Trey, and while the 3rd floor stayed quiet, the servant's bell for the gold room rang insistently. She met more Poole cousins and felt gratified they'd come. Though she'd been assured more than once they held no resentment over her inheritance, it relieved her to see and feel the lack of it herself. Connor Poole Ogleby, head of sales, a big man on the cusp of 50, with a big laugh and deep brown eyes, drew her aside into the music room.
An impressive gallery. Sad and beautiful at the same time.
He stepped closer to Agatha's portrait.
My branch of the family tree comes through Jane Poole, Owen's twin, and the child she had shortly after Agatha's death. Seeing this, the lost brides together this way, it makes me wonder what might have happened if Jane had been married in the manor. I'm here because she wasn't.
He turned to Sonia.
We're both here due to choices made along the way. I'm sorry Patricia Poole made the choices she made, and glad, very glad, Colin did what he could to rectify those choices.
My father had a good life. Too short, but a good life. A happy one.
Yes, I believe that. I met his parents and your mother. And you.
He took her hand.
Colin would like what you've done here. What you're doing. He never took his eye off the business, even though in the last few years he rarely came in. But he guarded that legacy.
He looked back at the portraits, scanning from Joanna to Agatha.
I'd come here every 4 weeks or so, on the excuse of giving him a report. One he didn't need, as he kept his eye. He guarded that legacy.
Connor repeated.
As he guarded the manor, another legacy. But this was more than that to him. It was home. Despite all its quirks, he loved the manor.
So do I.
So I've been told. And so I see. You look after this part of things, and you can trust me, Clarice, and all the rest to look after the business that helped build it.
She'd never thrown a party anywhere near this size and scope, and discovered just how much skill it required to engage with so many guests, individually or as a group. There, Cleo's talents outpaced hers by a mile, but she did her best, chatting with the mayor, the historical society, merchants, restaurateurs, teachers, servers, the police chief, the fire chief. Anne took time to sit a few minutes with Lucy Cabot, who'd fostered Yoda and Pyewacket. "You have a very happy dog," Lucy commented. "He makes me a very happy human. I see Owen built him a dog palace." Sonia glanced over to where Pye sat on its roof, the queen of all she surveyed. Out near the tree line, a young boy, around Jack's forever age, threw the ball for Yoda and Mookie to chase. Jones, too dignified for such public displays, sat and watched with mild disdain. "He likes it, but I think he likes it better when he has company. He's a sociable dog. He sure has plenty of company today. It's a terrific party, Sonia. You and Cleo made an impact here. We couldn't have done it, and boy do I realize that now without Bree. She's a wonder. I'm still coming to grips with how perfect she and Manny seem together. Who knew?" Rockhard's drummer with his flop of hair and Buddy Holly glasses kept the beat, and the chef with her flaming cap of hair and tattoos danced. Danced, Sonia noted, with Sonia's Uncle Martin. Well, yeah, she's a wonder. She rounded more tables, stopped by more groups. She sampled some dishes, sipped the Manor's signature drink. She danced with Ace. The man had the moves. She told him exactly that. He responded with a wink and a grin as he twirled her. "Men who can dance get the girls. That's how I won my own darling, the prettiest girl in Pools Bay." When he spun her again, lowered her into a dip, Sonia believed it. She remembered her mother telling her about one of her father's dreams of the manor, of people strolling the grounds, standing on the terraces. Like this, she thought. But this was the now. She danced with Trey, held close, just swaying. She thought he had the moves, too.
"Got yourself a hit here, cutie?"
Smiling, she looked up at him. "It feels good, and right, and real. It may take me days to recover, but so worth it." Resting her head on his shoulder, she looked over at the manor and saw shadows. Shadows at the windows. They were part of it, too. The good, the right, the real. Those who walked the halls, who built the fires and polished the wood, who'd lived and died inside those great walls. They weren't alone in the house facing the sea, and neither was she. People came and went. Some came and lingered long after the lights twinkled on in the trees, along the pergola, the deck. She said goodbye to her grandparents, her aunt, her uncle. When the last straggler drove away, Bree plopped down, kicked off her shoes.
"Somebody get me a drink." "I've got you,"
Owen said.
"And don't be stingy on the pour. Manny lost the toss, so he's DD and driving me home. Band's breaking down. Kitchen crew's finishing cleanup."
"I saw that myself," Sonia put in. "And wow, they're on top of it. Everyone's been on top of it."
"Biggest bash around here and God knows. They're hoping you'll do it again and sign them up."
"Done." Cleo sat back with her own drink.
"If you head the team."
"I can do that. Thanks." She took the glass from Owen, drank deep.
"I worried we'd have some..."
Bree sent a sidelong look toward the manor.
"Incidents. But other than some of the crew's phones playing when the band took a break, or somebody going to clear finding it already cleared, that kind of thing, nothing much. And nothing too spooky, I guess."
Imogene sipped her drink.
"It won't hold for long, but for now."
With interest, Bree studied her.
"You're pretty spooky, but in a cool way."
"Best party I've ever been to,"
Melly declared.
"and I've been to plenty. I lost count of the number of jaws I saw drop when people got a load of this place. The spread, the sparkle. You girls did yourselves proud."
"There was one thing."
Winter lifted her hands.
A man wearing a tux, sitting in a big leather chair, smoking a cigar. I passed by and stopped. He said he'd missed parties at the manor and was glad my daughter and her friend knew how to throw one. I said I'd bet it wouldn't be the last time they did. Somebody passed by, asked me if I knew where to find the powder room. I told them, then turned back, and the man wasn't there. I swear I could still smell the cigar smoke, just a hint of it, but he wasn't there.
"Okay, that's seriously spooky."
Bree downed the rest of her drink.
"And I'm heading out." "No, sit, stay. I've got Manny.
We'll talk."
Imogene leaned over to pat Winter's hand.
He wanted you to know he appreciated the party. There were more who felt the same. Some watched from the windows. You saw them, Cleo? Sonia?
Yes,
A young girl in a maid's uniform. So busy,
Imogene said.
helping where she could. Happy to. A little boy, such big eyes, watching the other children. The pretty thing from the portrait, Clover, with all that shining blonde hair, so full of joy. And more, so many.
Imogene sighed.
She watched too, the dark one. So much rage. But the protection held, and held strengthened by all the joy, the energy, the life. But be ready. It won't hold long. Now I'm going to put my old bones to bed. The energy won't fade tonight, so sleep easy.
She rose.
You need to.
Sonia slept like a stone, gratefully. The morning brought more goodbyes as Cleo's family loaded up right after breakfast. Imogene drew her aside, gripped both of Sonia's hands.
I left you something on your big fancy desk. It's an amethyst obelisk.
Thank you,
Now, I know you don't set much store in such things.
More than I used to, maybe.
Don't matter a bit. The stone, the shape, it'll help push out that dark energy and bring some calm into the place you work and create. You've got a big job to do, babe, but you won't be alone. It's a good house, else I'd never leave my precious girl or you in it. But you gonna fight for it.
She gave Sonia's hand a last squeeze.
You fight for it.
She stepped away, shook her head.
Let that girl go, Melly. I need my hug, too.
Just one more.
Melly squeezed Cleo tight.
Be as good as you can.
Sometimes I'll be better. Y'all text when you stop for the night, so I know where you are. She embraced her grandmother in turn.
And travel safe. I got that covered. We're having an adventure. Every day with the pair of you's an adventure. Come on now,
Jackson urged.
or you'll be goodbye until nightfall.
Before she got into the car, Imogene looked back at Owen.
We're gonna have us a fay-do-do when you come down to see me. I don't know what that is, but I'm already looking forward to it.
On a laugh, she slid into the car.
What's a fay-do-do?
Owen asked as they drove away.
It's a party. Are you planning a trip to Louisiana?
He shrugged at Cleo.
I guess I must be. But right now we're hauling those chairs and the tables back inside. We're due for some rain tonight.
I'll help you put what goes where. Then I need to head home. Maybe you could stay another night. Winter slipped an arm around Sonia's shoulders. Not this time. My work's waiting. Yours too. So Winter bided her time until she wrangled Trey into helping her carry chafing dishes down to storage. I really like your family, she began.
Me too. I really like yours.
Me too. We're lucky there. It was hard. So hard on Sonia to lose her father that way. So young. She adored him.
I know. It's easy to see when she talks about him.
I won't say that loss defined her life, but it did influence her direction, her choice of career. Her talent and interest led the way there, but the early influence played a part. This house, her father was born in this house, and that matters. She always wanted an old rambling house, and I wonder if, somehow like Drew, she just knew. Winter jolted when the servant's bell rang furiously. You don't even flinch when that happens, she murmured. I can't tell you how much that reassures me. You're a steady sort, Trey, and she needs that steadiness. This past year turned her life upside down, so she needs the steady.
She's got plenty of that herself.
She does. She really does. Looking back, I can see so clearly what I didn't. Her relationship with Brandon, her gradually letting him run more and more of the show. She wanted family, to make her own, so she ceded little pieces of herself. Then he betrayed her and she was done.
I won't. If you're worried about her and me, where we're going,
no, that's between the two of you. What I'm asking is for you to keep looking out for her. When she lets you. You have a way of doing that, and it doesn't ask or demand she give up little pieces of herself. This beautiful old house, she wondered as she spoke. So much hers. I can feel it. And part of me wants to drag her out, and Cleo with her, lock the doors behind them. She turned back. I can't, and I hope I wouldn't if I could. I worry less because Cleo's with her, and together they're downright awesome. She smiled. Downright awesome. I worry less now that I've met you, met Owen, your families. You don't need my approval, but you have it. I might not need it, but I can value it. I do. The bell rang and rang. The lid on one of the chafing dishes began to rattle and shake. Trey simply put a hand on the lid to still it. Didn't even flinch. I can head back to Boston with some peace of mind. After Winter left, and all the pets sprawled out in a post-party coma, Sonia dropped into a chair in the parlor. It's so quiet. I almost forgot what quiet's like. It's going to get quieter. I'm taking Trey and working on the sunfish. Cleo straightened in her own chair. When can I see it? A week. 10 days tops. Or next month if I don't put some time into it. Go away. Trey pulled Sonia from the chair. Dinner tomorrow? Anywhere you want. Right here. My social battery needs some serious recharging. Thank you, both of you. It was a hell of a good party. Maybe the next thing to a fay-do-do. Because that amused her, Cleo rose, walked to Owen, gave him a long, smoldering kiss. My grandma throws the best fay-do-dos in Louisiana. Now go build my boat. Let's go, Jones. If you need me, Trey began. I'll call. When they left, Sonia dropped into the chair again. It was a hell of a party. They did a lot to help make that happen. They did. Job well done all around. Now I've got the urge to work. Studio work. What about you? I've got some work I could get done. How about we do that, then cocktail time on the Widow's Walk? I'm there. Cleo rose again. We've got enough party food left over to have a nice smorgasbord. Dinner and a movie? And I'm there. Cleo? I know it can't last, but the house feels settled, like everybody's taking a nice long breath. I feel that too. So if we've got some of that quiet time, we'll use it. See you around 5. Sonia went up to her office. She sat and smiled as she ran her fingers down the smooth sides of the obelisk. Maybe she didn't put a lot of stock in such things, but it couldn't hurt. Plus, really pretty. With Yoda curling under her desk, she booted up. Work she'd put aside sprang right back. Maybe most wouldn't look forward to a working Sunday afternoon, she decided, but it suited her. She laughed when her tablet geared up with the Young Rascals and Groovin'. Yeah, that's right. This is my idea of grooving on a Sunday afternoon. She laid a hand on the tablet. I'm glad you got to meet Dad's parents, and you could see how much they loved him. She caught the scent, wildflowers blanketing a sun-washed meadow. Closing her eyes a moment, she breathed it in. It made you happy. I can feel that. You carried him. You gave him life. They gave him a life, a really good life. Then he built a really good life with Mom and me. So I'm glad you got to meet them. Opening her eyes, she smiled. And it was a seriously kick-ass party. Clover went with Party in the USA. Good choice. Suits my mood. An hour into the work, Yoda scrambled out from under the desk. She started to pause her work to let him out, then heard the bounce of the ball down the hall below. And that, she thought, suited her too. Chapter 29. The quiet didn't hold long, but it held for most of a week while the gardens grew lush and the air warmed like a kiss. A door might slam, a window might rattle, the clock chimed at 3 and spirits walked, but life and work in the manor went on. Twice that week, Sonia took an hour or two away from her own to help Cleo work on the mural for Anna's nursery. In an old tee and jeans, her hair bundled under a well-worn Red Sox cap, Sonia worked on the petals of a fanciful rainbow flower, while on a stepladder, Cleo finished detailing a dragon sleeping on a cloud. Pleased with her petals, Sonia stepped back to take stock. More dragons, and a baby dragon just peeking out of its egg. A pair of winged horses, unicorns, a purple griffin, inhabited the forest with Cleo's colorfully striped moncoons. A trio of butterhounds fluttered. Trees dripped with jewel-colored fruit where bright birds nested. In the midst of a waterfall, fairies danced, and in the impossibly blue pool, mermaids swam. It's a dream, Cleo. There's not a kid in the world who won't love waking up to this. It's coming along. I want 2 or 3 more elves, and I think a Titania-like fairy in a bower. I'm coming in! Forewarned, Sonia looked over as Anna stepped into the nursery and watched as the mother-to-be pressed her hand to her lips, watched her eyes fill. Oh, it's amazing. I can't believe. Every time I come in, there's more wonderful. Cleo, Sonia, honestly, it's just magical. That's the goal, Cleo said, and stepped down to study her sleeping dragon. You added a castle. Sonia's idea. What's a magic forest without a castle on a high hill in the distance? I love it. I love it so much. And she will. Anna pressed her hand to her belly. She'll love it. Iona or Eliza or possibly Fiona will love it. Last time, Cleo recalled, you were leaning toward Laurel. I was. We were. And maybe. Anyway, I was just taking a break from the studio and I wanted another peek. Now Anna laid a hand on her heart. I'm enchanted. It's enchanting. Let me fix you some lunch. I have to pass, Sonia told her. I need to get home. I've got a video conference coming up. I'll take you up on lunch, Cleo said. Give me another 20. Whatever you want. Wait until Seth sees what you've done today. I'm thinking an elf here, peeking from behind this tree, and another, maybe 2, one over here, another sort of blending into these flowers, like they're playing hide and seek. So cute! I'll leave you to it. See you later, Cleo. Oh, I'll walk you out. I know the way. Bask a while. She left them talking about elves. She'd had a good week, Sonia thought. Productive at work, pretty quiet in the manor, and with the added element of mural fun. Trey and Owen would come later, bringing dinner with them. They'd eat outside, she decided, take advantage of a gorgeous June day. On the way home, she stopped for fresh flowers, then again at the bakery. Who didn't want brownies for dessert? She thought how lovely it would be if her life just flowed along as it had this past week. Good work, a good man who cared about her, good friends, a good home, and a growing community around it. And in a little over an hour, she had a meeting about the biggest job in her career, a job she'd earned. But first, she'd let Yoda and Pi out, tuck the brownies away, arrange the flowers. When she drove up, the windows stood open. And why not, she thought. The sun shined, the sea breeze came soft and warm and sweet, as summer whispered in spring's ear. As she carried the bakery box and flowers to the door, she heard Yoda's welcoming bark. He greeted her with wags and happy whines, while the cat leaped down from the newel post and sauntered to the door and out. You go ahead with Pi. Tell you what, I'll leave the door open while I take care of these flowers. Then if Jack hasn't already stuffed you, you'll both get a treat. She went back, stored the bakery box in the butler's pantry, then started to prep the flowers. The tall blue vase, she thought. Anna's work would set the new flowers off. Then she felt it. That pull and the slight lightheaded sensation that often came with it. Oh, not now, not now. I have a meeting in just over an hour. But she couldn't deny it, couldn't resist it. Even as she thought to text Trey, that thought slipped away from her, and she followed the pull. Back through the house, the sound of the sea rising against the rocks through the open door, open windows seemed distant, seemed a mile away, more a dream than real as she climbed the stairs. Her heart began to trip as she continued on, as the pull drew her past the library, past the old nursery, and up the stairs to the 3rd floor. Not the gold room. She wouldn't go in, she promised herself. She'd find a way to break this need. She saw as she walked down the long hallway, the door pulsing, the heartbeat of it, heard it pound in her ears. Even with fear squeezing its clammy hands on her throat, she walked on, and into Cleo's studio, where the mirror stood, waiting. Cleo had a large canvas on her easel. Her studio work, Sonia knew. Some figures, some color. It all barely registered as the mirror drew her. "You've got a big job to do," Imogene had said. All right, Sonia repeated, and stepped through the glass. The studio smelled of paint and brush cleaner, and a hint, just a hint, of Calvin Klein's eternity. Not Cleo's studio now, she realized. Not with the pair of old chairs shoved against the far wall and canvases stacked against the back wall. The light streaming in was almost silver. A storm rolled outside the windows, lashed at the sea so its waves whipped up, white-tipped. The storm echoed on the canvas, just as fierce and full of wild movement. The man at the easel painted the storm at sea, a brush in one hand, a palette knife in the other. He wore jeans, a faded denim shirt rolled up at the elbows, both splattered with paint. His hair, the sun against the storm, fell messily over his collar. How many times, she wondered as her heart wept, had she watched her father just like this? Legs spread, hair tumbled, his whole being focused on what he created. She watched Colin Poole paint and thought it a kind of magic how much his technique matched his brother's. Even how his hand held the brush, how his body angled. And the music. AC/DC's Heat Seeker. Yes, her father would have gone with hard-pounding rock when painting a storm at sea. But couldn't Colin hear the heartbeat from the gold room? Couldn't he feel the rage inside it? She wondered it didn't swallow everything else up. Then she heard something else. Footsteps. Just before Joanna came in. She paused there a moment, just looking at Colin, and everything she felt for him shined in her eyes. She had her auburn hair back in a tail, and like Colin wore jeans and a shirt rolled to the elbow. Her feet were bare and she carried a mug. Sonia could smell the coffee, dark and rich. "I'll set this on your work table." Her voice, strong but quiet, held something else. Sonia heard the frisson of excitement in it. "I don't want to interrupt." "You're not." He turned to her, turned down the music, and what he felt for Joanna shined in his eyes. Sonia saw her father's face, heard her father's voice. A tear slid down her cheek as he smiled. "I got what I wanted, and I'll always want you more." He gestured toward the painting. "What do you think?" Walking to him, Joanna tipped her head to his shoulder. "I think it's glorious, passionate, full of wild movement and drama. The way you have the lightning striking the sea, you can all but hear the snap of power." "You're so good for me." He gathered her in. "My whole world opened when you came into my life. I put color on canvas, but I didn't know what color was until you. I didn't really believe in love until you." Tipping her face up, he kissed her. Then they stood together looking out at the storm. "Just a few more days and we'll be married." He brought her hand to his lips. "We'll be the Pooles of Poole Manor. Let's hope this storm passes and doesn't decide to circle back on our wedding day. If it does, we'll weather it. Damned if some rain will stop me from being your wife." Like Colin, Joanna didn't seem to hear the pounding that came. Not from the storm, not from the music, but from Dobbs' lair. Instead, Joanna smiled and laid a hand on Colin's cheek. "I thought about waiting until I was your wife, until we were the Pooles of Poole Manor, but I just can't. And I know we'd planned to wait until after we were married to get started, but—" She took his hand, pressed it against her stomach. "Close enough." It took him a moment, Just a moment for puzzlement to turn into shock, and shock to explode into joy.
Are you sure? Of course you're sure, you wouldn't say unless. My God, Joanna.
She laughed as he lifted her off her feet, spun her.
Joanna, shit!
He set her down, ran his hands down her sides.
I shouldn't do that. Are you all right? How do you feel? Did I hurt you? Him? Her?
Of course not, and I feel amazing. I feel strong and sure and so happy. I'm fine, we're fine.
Maybe you should sit down. Maybe we should both sit down. I swear my knees are weak.
Then maybe we should lie down. She circled her arms around his neck. Together.
Maybe we should.
He scooped her off her feet. Let's not tell anyone until after the wedding, Colin. Let's keep this ours. Just ours until after.
Not a word about it,
he promised as he carried her out.
Until you say so, I won't tell a soul. And then I'm telling everyone. Joanna made me a husband. Joanna made me a father. My Joanna gave me the world.
They were gone, with the coffee she'd brought him cooling on the workbench, the storm falling away. Another tear spilled as Sonia walked to the mirror and through. The sun shined through the windows and sparkled through Cleo's hanging crystals. And the closet door stood open. Already shaky, already grieving for people she'd never met, she stepped over. The bride wore her dark hair in a cascade of curls that fell down the nape of her neck. The wide skirt of her gown formed with a mass of ruffles that rose from the sweeping hem to a tiny waist. More ruffles fell from the bodice and down the shoulders to her elbows. She carried a single pink rose. Her face was radiant with joy. On a sigh, Sonia said, "Marianne." She carried the painting downstairs, where the cat sat on the newel post, and Yoda ran to meet her. The front door, closed, told her someone had seen to their pets while she'd gone into the past. With Yoda trailing her, she took the portrait to the music room, set it against the wall. She thought of the woman she'd seen dying in childbirth, the grief of her husband, and looking at Joanna's portrait, thought of the woman she'd just seen, the one with a ponytail and bare feet, and like the third bride, radiant with joy. A woman who she now understood died with the potential of life inside her. "Marianne, we'll put you with the others tonight. Right now, I have to pull myself together. I have a meeting, but I'm not forgetting you. I'm not forgetting any of you. I have a big job to do." Her phone played Roy Orbison's Crying. "Later," she murmured. "I can cry after the meeting." She'd promised treats, so walked to the kitchen only to find them sitting on the counter, with a note in the careful cursive she'd seen before. I closed the door and gave them the cookies. "Jack, thanks for that." Centered on the island stood the flowers, artfully arranged in Anna's blue vase. "And Molly, thanks. I just forgot about them." She got out a Coke, drank some of it standing by the window, and waited for the boost. But her heart stayed heavy, her head light. She got through it, and though Clover stayed silent, the scent of wildflowers drifted throughout the meeting. Not alone, Sonia reminded herself. After the meeting, she worked another hour, incorporating her careful notes before checking her email. She found 2 local inquiries for website designs. She couldn't find the joy in them, not yet, but responded before putting them aside. Tomorrow, she decided. She'd find the joy in them tomorrow. Instead, she worked on changes requested for a book cover. After her checks on and posts to various social media, she admitted she needed to shut down for the day. No amount of work, no amount of focus could block that portrait, that luminous face out of her head. She'd hang the portrait. Like a faithful guard, Yoda stuck with her when she went downstairs again. She found the cat sitting on the piano in the music room, another watchful guard. "You're just the right cat for Cleo, and the manor." She gave Pi a long stroke, then crouched down to snuggle Yoda. And you're perfect in every way." When she hung the portrait, she stepped back to take in the 5 lost brides. Clover reached out to comfort with, "Let it be." "But I can't, can I? I can't let it be. I'm here to stop it, and I don't know how." And God, I look at this beautiful bride in her lovely ruffled dress, and I see her dying in blood and pain. I hear the babies she fought to bring into the world crying. I see Hugh Poole grieving. And I see that bitch slinking in to take her ring. The doorbell began to bong, and Sonia swore she heard laughter, wild and crazed along with it. "Oh, go to hell!" Disgusted, she shoved at her hair. "I need air." With her 4-legged guards flanking her, she strode to the front door, threw it open. She walked to the seawall, where the waves crashed, where the water stretched, shimmering blue in an endless roll. The perfect June day, as spring eased its way to summer, brought out the pleasure boats. She watched them glide, over the ocean, down in the bay, sails full, motors racing. Then a school of dolphins, bulleting along, leaping up, diving down. It calmed her, and still she couldn't find the joy. Windows banged shut in the house behind her. She ignored them. "Today I give you nothing," she thought, even as the grief rose up from her heart to clog her throat. She didn't hear the truck coming up the road, but Yoda did. He let out his happy bark, and when she turned, she saw Trey's truck pulling in. It flooded her now, all the grief and sorrow she'd walled off to get through the work, to stand against the viciousness, the violence that shadowed her home. Mookie leaped out, long tail whipping as he and Yoda held a sniffing, wagging contest. Then Trey, hair wind-blown in a gray suit, the blue tie loosened around his neck, the battered briefcase over his shoulder. And it all broke through as he walked across the lawn toward her.
"Last client of the day just down the road, so..."
His easy smile of greeting snapped away, and with a look of worry, he quickened his pace.
"What happened?"
As the tears burst through, she simply fell into his arms.
"Sonia."
"Just hold on to me a minute," she managed. "Just hold on to me."
"I've got you. But tell me if you're hurt."
Stroking her back, he pressed his lips to her hair.
"Just tell me if you're hurt."
"Not that way."
She wept against him, and as the dogs tried to push their way in, as the cat circled, Trey shook his head.
"Go on now. Go on."
He held her, half afraid the sobs would shatter her like glass. He gave her his silence, and the time she needed to purge herself of what struck him as a terrible grief, a grief that stabbed at his heart as she wept it out in his arms. When her sobs subsided, she gave one long shudder.
"I hate I gave her that. I hate I gave her tears. I hope she drowns in them. Come on, let's go inside."
She shook her head, then laid it on his shoulder with a sigh. "I need the air. I thought I needed the sea, but I think I need the garden. The color of it, the life. Can we walk?" Easing back, he took her face in his hands, ravaged eyes still brimming and tears clinging to her lashes.
"Sonia."
Undone, he kissed her. Gently, even as some part deep inside him wanted to pound to dust whatever had caused that storm of grief. He took her hand and with his other, reached in his pocket for a handkerchief.
"You have a handkerchief,"
she said as he dried the tears on her face.
"You're wearing a suit and you have an actual handkerchief."
"I had court this morning, and an emotional client."
"Oh, right. You told me. About court, not the client. You're too discreet to talk about your clients. Did you win?"
"As a matter of fact."
"That's good. You're early, aren't you?" "I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you came early. Then I cried all over your nice suit."
"Going to tell me why?"
She nodded, began to walk. "I had a meeting. Virtual, so let me go back. I took a couple hours late this morning. Late for me, not Cleo. To go with her and work on the nursery mural. It's pretty damn fabulous."
"I've heard. Cleo's still at Anna's?"
In her time, he thought, at her pace. "I guess, or on her way home by now. I had to get back for the meeting. I stopped for flowers and brownies. You were bringing dinner.
Owen's getting it."
As they circled around the house, he glanced up at the gold room, then banked his murderous thoughts. I let Yoda and Pi out, left the door open until I put the brownies away, dealt with the flowers. But before I could, she trailed off again as it struck her. She didn't greet me. Clover always greets me with music when I come home, but she didn't. I just realized that. I guess she knew. Does it matter? Maybe, maybe not. You're just letting me ramble, she said. Just ramble away. No, what the hell happened, Sonia? No, what the fuck's going on? Not from you.
Things come out in a ramble, if you pay attention.
And you do. Pay attention. And because of that, I feel more myself than I have since the mirror.
You went through?
I was going to prep the flowers, and I felt it. That pull. I didn't want it. I had the meeting, and I wanted to prep for that, too. I wanted to text you, but I couldn't. I just had to go. She drew in the gardens, into her mind, into her lungs. The scents, the colors, the life. The third floor, she continued. I was afraid it would be the gold room. I told myself I wouldn't go in no matter what. But that was a lie. If it had pulled me there, I wouldn't have a choice. But it didn't. It was in Cleo's studio. And I went through into Colin's studio.
Maybe we could sit. Sit on the deck.
He walked with her there.
Do you want some water? Some wine?
Later. I'm going to get through this. There was a storm, and he painted it. Colin. He was young, and God, he looked so much like my father. Younger than my clearest pictures of Dad, but I've seen photos. And he stood like him. He held the brush like him. Sleeves of his shirt rolled up just like... She broke off, pressed a hand to her face. Trey rose from his chair, plucked her up from hers, and cradled her in his lap. Yes, that's better. Joanna came in, brought him coffee. She looked so happy, content, and more. I could tell. I could see excitement. And when he spoke to her, Trey, I heard my father's voice. And the tone of it, just the way Dad would talk to Mom sometimes. That love. I could see in them what I'd seen in my parents. That unity, that rightness. They talked about the wedding, just a few days away. Then she told him she was pregnant, Trey.
Joanna was pregnant? I've never heard that. My parents were really tight with Colin and Joanna, but...
That's the thing, Sonia interrupted. They were so thrilled, both of them, just over the top happy. And she asked him not to say anything until after the wedding, to keep it just theirs until after the wedding. He said he wouldn't say a word until she told him it was okay. But she never got the chance to, Trey. She never did, so he never told anyone. At least, I think that.
I never knew him to break his word. So he carried that alone.
It makes you sad, she murmured, and laid a hand on his cheek. You loved him.
Yeah, I did. He carried that loss. The woman he loved, the child they'd started together and wanted. And he carried it alone. It's goddamn tragic. But they had that, Sonia. For a few days, they had that absolute happiness. Not everyone gets that, even for a few days.
Trey, if she'd lived, if they'd had the baby, we'd be the same age. My parents would have been expecting me at the same time.
And that hits hard.
She closed her eyes, rested her forehead to his. They met in the mirror. I know that. From the time they were boys. And I really believe somehow my father came through. He painted the manor. He had dreams about it. What he thought were dreams. It makes me wonder what would have happened if... And it broke my heart to know there's no if at all. She laid her head on his shoulder. Then I came back to Cleo's studio and found Marianne Poole. Her portrait.
Cutie, you've had a hell of a day.
He surprised a laugh out of her. Oh, God, yes. I brought it down. Yoda and Pi were back in, the door closed. And I had a note from Jack.
You're not messing with me now?
I am not. He left me a note saying he'd let them back in, closed the door, gave them treats. And Molly, had to be, had put the flowers in a vase. Kind. Just so kind. And it helped a little. But I had to take the meeting. Then I did what work I could get my head around. I came down, hung the portrait. I thought it would make me feel better. It just didn't. It was all right here. She put a hand to her throat. And she started on the doorbell, and worse, I heard her. I heard her laughing. So I went outside, for the air, for the water. It didn't help either. Then you came and I fell apart. Because I knew I could. I could fall apart because you were here. And that finally helped. I wish I hadn't given her those tears, that grief. But it helped.
You gave her nothing. You mourned her victims and gave her nothing.
Clover went with Christina Aguilera's Fighter.
And she's right,
Trey said.
You are.
There you are.
Cleo stepped outside.
I was wondering.
Breaking off, she whipped off her sunglasses.
What's wrong, Son?
I'm fine now. She got up to prove it. And honest to God, I can't go through the whole thing again without a glass of wine.
I'll get it.
He shot Cleo a look as he rose.
And I'll go through it again. You can fill in anything I miss.
I don't think you miss much.
I try not to.
As he walked down from the deck, he signaled to Cleo.
Give her a minute, okay? She's been crying. She needed to. She may need to again, but she's all right. Just give her a minute.
When he went inside, Cleo went up on the deck. She shoved her sunglasses on again, sat.
It goes against my nature, but I'm going to listen to him. I'm giving you a minute.
I appreciate it. Sonia sat again, closed her eyes, and basked in the silence. Trey came out with a bottle of wine, 3 glasses. After he'd poured, he sat. He went through it all, and Sonia marveled at his recollection of details. Some she barely remembered recounting herself. Part of being a good lawyer, she decided. As he spoke, Cleo reached over, took Sonia's hand. Solidarity.
I'm so sorry I wasn't here, Son.
Don't be. I wasn't alone, and I knew that all through it. And now that I did get through it, and I cried all over Trey, I'm glad I saw them together. Colin and Joanna. I'm glad I could see how much they loved each other and would have loved the child they'd begun. I saw my dad in him. And in a way, I saw my parents at that stage of their lives. So full of love and excitement and plans. Sitting here now, with people she loved, with the gardens blooming and the evening just starting to go soft. I absolutely believe the purpose of seeing them, of finding Marianne's portrait right after, was a reminder of what's at stake. She lifted her glass to Trey. You said I didn't give her anything. I mourned for her victims and gave her nothing. I needed to hear that. And I can believe it.
Her victims deserved to be mourned.
Yes, they do. My father and Colin painted those portraits, and there's purpose in that, too. They deserve to be displayed together, remembered. That's what we're doing. They deserve to have their rings back. And I don't know how, but we're going to make that happen.
I'm with you all the way, Cleo told her. Now I want to go see her. See Marianne. You're right, there's purpose in that art. We see who we're fighting for.
Let's all go see her. They went inside into the music room.
She's beautiful,
Cleo murmured.
Lit.
Radiant, Sonia agreed. That's the word that sprang for me. Young. She, Clover, Lisbeth, all close to the same age.
Colin's work again?
Cleo nodded as she moved in for a closer study.
They've taken turns. Honoring them,
Trey put in.
Not just the woman Colin loved, or the woman who gave birth to both of them, but all the ones who came before. And the way it looks, this is where they're meant to be.
In a room made for music. Sonia smiled at him. Both dogs let out a yip and raced for the door.
That'll be Owen and dinner.
Cleo stepped back to the doorway, waited.
We're in here,
she called out when he came in with a bag from the lobster cage and Jones.
With a new addition.
He walked back, passed the bag to Cleo, then studied the portrait.
Marianne Poole. Very Scarlett O'Hara.
His gaze shifted to Sonia. Held.
What's up? Dobbs give you trouble?
Not very much.
I've had women cry over me and on me. So I know what one looks like. What's up?
So gallant of you to let her know she looks like hell.
I didn't say she looks like hell.
he corrected Cleo.
Exactly,
He added, and made Sonia laugh.
And somehow still my favorite cousin.
So again, what's up?
We'll tell you over dinner. Outside. It's too nice for in. I have crying jag face because I had a crying jag, and they make me hungry.
Works for me.
While they ate and the dogs roamed and the cat watched, Owen listened, and said little until the end of it.
You okay now?
He asked Sonia. Yes.
It had to be a jolt, seeing him like that. Like your father.
They were so alike. I've seen pictures of both of them now, but this was more.
He said something to me. After Hugh moved to New York. I was lucky I had a brother I was close to. Even though we wouldn't be in the same place, we'd always have that bond. Growing up together, sharing memories and all that. Hugh and I always got along. Mostly, anyway. He said how odds were we'd make each other uncles one day. How being an uncle was close to being a father.
Owen winced as Sonia's eyes filled.
Oh man, don't start up again.
Just a little. It's a good thing to know. They couldn't be close, but they knew each other. Through the mirror. I think that mattered to both of them. It's a good thing to know. Chapter 30. On a bright, breezy Saturday morning, Cleo launched the Siren. She took the cat, and at her insistence, Sonia took the dog. As Cleo drove to the village, Sonia cast another dubious glance in the back, where Pi curled on the seat and Yoda planted his stubby front paws against the partially open window to catch the air. I'm really not sure, especially this first time, it's the best idea to take them on the boat.
We all go. It's going to be a moment.
Yeah, but what kind of moment? Joy and delight or chaos and capsizing?
The first. I feel it in my bones. You had a tough week, Son. It's time for some silly fun.
She couldn't deny the tough week. But she'd handled it, and she'd handled the uneasy nights, waking at 3 to the sound of the clock, the music, the weeping, and waiting for the pull of the mirror to take her. Somewhere. Worse, waiting for Dobbs to strike out yet again.
Friend of mine, you're stressed. Maxed out stressed. Today we break that. I'm excited.
Cleo gave her a light punch on the shoulder.
Be excited! I haven't seen a peep of my boat except on paper. And today, we're gonna sail the bay. All 4 of us.
She'd sailed with Cleo before, Sonia reminded herself, and considered herself a more than adequate first mate. But she'd never sailed with a cat or a dog, much less both at once. Rather than breaking her stress, the idea just piled more on.
Trust me,
Cleo insisted as she pulled in beside Owen's workshop and parked next to the pair of trucks already there. Famous words. But Sonia got out, and though Yoda sent her a sad look when he saw it, hooked the leash to his collar. Cleo gathered up the cat in an enormous bag.
You know, the man's workshop's bigger than his house. I wonder what that says about him.
That he loves his work? Sonia suggested.
Could be that. Could be he isn't as invested in his home yet as he is in his work.
Your workspace in your apartment in Boston took up more room than your living space. Cleo smiled, tossed her hair.
It did, didn't it?
She gave Sonia a one-armed hug.
I predict you're gonna thank me after we sail.
I may. I sure as hell plan to thank the gods of sailors, dogs, cats, and loyal best friends upon our safe return.
You can do both. But Owen built it for 2 adults, and we're sticking to the bay. We all have PFDs, but we won't need them.
Hope not, Sonia thought, as they walked around the workshop to the dock, where Trey stood with Owen and 2 more dogs. The Siren sat trim and glossy in the water, the mermaid at its bow with her head lifted, her hair flowing. Her companions swam port and starboard. The boat gleamed in the sun, its red sail rolled and ready to hoist. Cleo let out a squeal and shoved Pi into Sonia's hands, dropped the bag. She ran forward and nearly toppled Owen off the dock when she leaped up, hooked her legs around his waist, and locked her mouth to his.
I helped,
Trey said. Then he sent Pi and Yoda as dubious a look as Sonia's thoughts.
Really?
Apparently. Wow, it really is beautiful. Oh, and the carving.
Busy here.
He went in for another kiss, but Cleo jumped down, pushed him back, and moved closer to the boat.
Oh, she's just gorgeous. She's so me.
Kneeling, she reached down to run her fingers over the carved figures.
It's beautiful work, Owen. Seriously beautiful work.
She turned out pretty good. And she's stable. Built for up to 350 pounds, so she'll hold both of you no problem. Plus, she's got the hiking strap you wanted.
Now he looked at Pi and Yoda.
Looks like you were serious about them. That cat's wearing a hot pink PFD.
Naturally, it matches mine. I got Yoda the more masculine but still stylish purple.
She went back for the bag she'd dropped, then handed Sonia her PFD, also purple, before putting on her own. She took out 2 water bottles, handed them to Owen.
Toss those to us, will you?
Maybe we should go over a few things,
Trey began.
I've grilled her already,
Owen said.
She knows what she's doing.
To prove it, Cleo put the cat under her arm, stepped off the dock onto the Siren's deck. She got her balance, set the cat down. Pi walked toward the bow, sat like a masthead.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Sonia unleashed Yoda.
Pray for us.
She kissed Trey for luck. Obliging, Yoda jumped onto the boat. Hoping for the best, Sonia followed. Trey watched them paddle away from the dock.
That looks promising. But hey, maybe we empty our pockets, ditch shoes, in case. They're fine.
And they watched Cleo move to the windward side, stepping over the cockpit where Yoda planted himself. She took the tiller with one hand and hoisted sail. Her shout of triumph echoed back as the Siren glided over the waters of Pools Bay. Sonia's laugh flowed back with it.
She's sailing with a cat.
Owen pushed up his sunglasses.
And a dog. The cat's wearing a pink PFD and the woman's handling that boat like she was born at the tiller. I'm done. That's it. She's it. Jesus, she's just it.
Trey clapped a hand on Owen's shoulder.
You're just figuring that out? I should have known she was trouble. Fuck it, I did know she was trouble. Now I'm sunk.
Trey looked out where Sonia lifted her arms to the sky.
That makes 2 of us.
In the boat, Cleo tacked, and the Siren flew.
You were right. So right. I forgot what it was like to just go. Yoda's loving it. Look at him.
Pointy little ears pinned back by the wind, he had his head lifted to it, and wild delight gleaming in his eyes.
And Pi!
Sure-footed, the cat had walked back to sit beside Cleo, and looked like a queen pleased with the performance of her barge.
We needed this. We deserved this. Man, oh man, son. This boat handles like a dream. That man's amazing.
He sure gets you. Everything about this boat says Cleopatra Fabre.
Oh, what a day.
But you were wrong about one thing. It's not silly fun, it's just fun.
And how's that stress?
What stress? With another laugh, Sonia waved to a boat as one of its passengers took pictures of them. She supposed they made one. 2 women, a cat, and a dog in a mermaid of a boat. They sailed for an hour before Cleo guided the Siren back to the dock. As Sonia secured the lines and removed Yoda's PFD, Trey wandered out of the open double garage doors of the shop. Yoda leaped out, shook the spray from his brindled fur, then pranced into the shop. Trey took the cat, then offered Cleo a hand.
How'd she handle?
She's perfect. I've never sailed anything like her. Small but mighty.
She took the cat, nuzzled it.
We love her. Owen in there?
Yeah, cold drinks too.
Right now, I want both.
When she walked away, Trey ran a hand over Sonia's windblown hair.
It looks good on you.
What does?
Everything, but right now, happy and relaxed.
I'm both. And I don't know half of what Cleo does about boats and sailing, but from my perspective, she's right. That one's perfect. She took his hand as they walked toward the shop. We had other boats come abreast, some taking pictures of us.
That's no surprise.
And a couple called out asking where we got the boat. If Owen ever wants to take on more solo custom work, I could build him a hell of a website. They stepped inside the cavernous space, and Sonia goggled. It's even bigger than it looks from outside. She'd never seen so many tools. Hand tools hanging on a wall, bigger ones sitting on shelves, others that looked powerful, and more than a little scary to her eye, standing on their own. Massive standing chests with drawers she supposed held more. Workbenches, stacks and more stacks of lumber, another shelf holding what she thought were antique tools, including the sander he'd taken from the manor. More holding cans of resin, paint, sealer. And tucked back, a battered old couch and what looked like someone's grandfather's recliner from the 60s, a dog bed, an ancient refrigerator, and the desk. That's the roll top you found in storage. Marveling, she walked to it, ran a finger over its now silky surface. How did you manage to let it look old wonderfully and shiny new?
Elbow grease, mostly. I got Cokes. I got beer.
A Coke, thanks. Cleo, already sipping one, lifted it to the wall above the desk.
You're putting her there, aren't you? The mermaid? That's the plan.
Nodding slowly, she sipped again.
It's a good plan. It's the right place for her. But right now, I need you to sit at the desk. I need it open and Jones sitting beside you. Because...
She reached in her enormous bag, pulled out a sketch pad.
You have a sketch pad.
I always have a sketch pad. Go sit. It's an interesting setup.
Then I'll trade you for a sale. You and Jones in the Siren. I don't see why.
You will. You see it, don't you, Sonia? I have to say yes. And if Trey will give me a ride home, I'll take Yoda, since I see Pie sitting on top of the desk. Cleo smiled.
See why we've been best friends forever? Then I want one with you using one of these tools. Maybe just a sander or a chisel. Maybe that bandsaw. You know what a bandsaw is?
Cleo gave him a roll of her eyes.
Of course I know what a bandsaw is.
Owen looked a little helplessly at Trey.
Damn it. We'll get out of your way. Come on, Mooks. I got a couple of ideas for you,
Cleo told Trey.
Definitely getting out of your way.
He grabbed Sonia's hand, pulled her out of the shop. When she's ready for you, you won't escape.
I can run pretty fast.
How about a stroll on High Street instead? I'll buy you an ice cream cone.
I'll take that deal.
An easy day, Sonia thought. One with no work and all fun. She'd needed it, and considered her balance fully restored as they walked the dogs along High Street. They stopped often to have a word with friends and neighbors, and that reminded her what she'd made herself a part of. It pleased her to see some of Anna's pottery in the window display at Bay Arts. As they paused there, Kevin stepped out. He had a mile-wide grin, gold wire-framed glasses, and sported a bow tie.
Caught a glimpse of you. First again, Sonia. Amazing party. John D. and I had an absolute blast.
We did too.
Always good to see you, Trey. I just saw your grandmother yesterday. She gets around. How's your mom? Doing good. Just a sprain. Pickleball injury, he said to Sonia before he bent down to scrub at both dogs. Hello, puppies. Hello there. I wanted to tell you I just this morning sold the last painting Cleo brought in. A couple from Cambridge taking a long weekend, staying at the hotel. She'll be delighted. Please tell her. If I don't talk to her first, I'd be delighted if she has anything else ready. And I want to tell you I'm ready to go with your proposal for the website, the signage, the works. Now I'm delighted. I'll start building the website next week. Great. We'll talk. I have to get back to it. Enjoy this spectacular day.
She did. From the sail to the walk, the feeling of belonging to margaritas on the deck with the men handling steaks on the grill. Clover kept things upbeat with the music. Molly had the windows open, and 3 dogs plus cat played in the yard. Every day should be today, Sonia decided. If only. Then Cleo smiled. We'd get bored. I hate knowing that's true. Sonia paged through Cleo's sketchbook. These are terrific. You already know that. You want oils for the one at the desk. And I want to play with shadows and light. Man working late, that sort of thing. Right now I'm feeling lazy, like a movie after dinner. Read my mind. While they ate in the sunlight, Sonia smiled over at Owen. I've been looking at chairs for out front. Maybe a nice bench, the kind that'll handle being out in the weather. The thing is, I haven't found anything that's not boring and standard. Nothing with the character the manor deserves. Eyeing her, he ate a bite of steak.
You want me to build you chairs and maybe a bench?
You do have that incredible workshop and all those tools. I drew up some ideas.
Uh-huh.
He glanced at Trey, who shrugged.
She did it this afternoon. I gotta say, they look good. Interesting. Interesting. And say I find them interesting, what do I get?
I thought since Cleo would use them too, she could offer you sexual favors.
I'm already getting those.
Yeah,
They can be withheld.
he just turned to Cleo.
But can they? Can they really?
She laughed and lifted her margarita. I also noticed you have a nice collection of old tools. There are more of those downstairs. You could take whatever you wanted.
Maybe I'll take a look at the design.
When he did, saw the generous seats, the wide arms, the carving on the back that represented the weeper in bloom, he hissed out a breath.
Okay, interesting. But you're going to want to angle the seats and back some.
Whatever you think.
I've got some teak, and that'd work. But black locust, more interesting.
Isn't that an insect?
No. Back when? They used it a lot for outdoor work. And you want character. The been here forever feel. It can be a bitch to work with.
Not for you. Cleo batted her eyes at him.
I'm taking those sexual favors, Lafayette, and some tools.
He pointed at Trey.
You helped get me into this, so you help with the build. I'm in. I like them. I'd have talked her out of them otherwise.
Is that so? Sonia said.
It's what he does. Talks people into things or out of them. Mostly.
Owen added.
They come out of it thinking it was their idea. Let the record show this was Sonia's idea, issuing the challenge and yours to accept it. So,
Trey smiled.
How about that movie?
At 3, the clock sounded. On the drift of piano music, Sonia rose. Trey got up quickly. I'm awake, she told him. I'm awake, but I have to. I need to go.
I'm right here with you, but I'm going to get Owen. You don't have to go through alone.
I have to go. When she walked into the hall, Trey started to go down ahead, get Owen, but both Owen and Cleo stepped out of the bedroom.
Somebody woke me up,
Owen told him.
It wasn't Cleo.
I heard it too, like before. Someone saying, Sonia, a hand on my shoulder. I'm awake, but do you feel it too?
Not really. Something, maybe.
Owen shook his head.
But not really.
I have to go. I have to. She continued to the end of the hall with that pull growing stronger and stronger. Then she stopped at the top of the stairs, pointed down. It's there. Do you see it? It's down there.
I see it.
His eyes on the mirror. Trey took her hand.
You can say no, Sonia. I'll help you say no if that's what you want.
No, I need to.
I'm with her. You need to stay with Cleo. It's not reflecting. Movement in it. And I can hear music.
Trey kept Sonia's hand. He saw them reflected in the glass as they walked toward the mirror. He heard nothing. At the base of the stairs, he put Sonia's hand in Owen's, and all his trust with it.
Look out for her. I got it.
Cleo grabbed Owen's face, kissed him. Look out for you, too.
That's the plan. Ready?
It doesn't matter. I have to. Together, they stepped through and stood in the grand foyer with the portrait of Astrid Granville Poole. The music, the voices, came from outside the open windows.
Louie Louie.
Owen identified the song, the heavy bass coming through.
So 60s or beyond.
I don't understand. Even as Sonia spoke, the front door flew open. The woman rushed in, long auburn hair in tumbling waves to her shoulders. She wore a crown of rosebuds over it, with ribbons trailing behind. She hiked up the frothy skirts of her white dress as she hurried toward the stairs. In high, sparkling heels, Joanna Poole started up. "Her feet are killing her," Sonia murmured. "I can hear her thoughts, like with Arthur Poole." Gripping Owen's hand, she followed the 7th bride. 1995. I'm married. I'm a married woman. A woman married to the best man I've ever known. The only man I've ever truly loved. From today, we're Colin and Joanna Poole. And why in God's name did I wear these ridiculous shoes on the most important day of my life? I laugh, pause on the stairs, pull them off, and let out a long, relieved sigh. Because they're gorgeous, and I needed to be gorgeous today. I felt gorgeous when I saw the light and love in Colin's eyes as I walked toward him. A perfect day. Our perfect day. I flex my aching toes, lay a hand on my belly. All 3 of us. I can't wait to tell Corey, to share the news with my closest friend. I'm going to be a mom. But today, I'm a bride, and that's enough. More than enough once I change my shoes. At the top of the stairs, I turn a circle and think of all the plans Colin and I have for the manor. He's updated some of it. A lot of it, really, but we'll do more. And we'll need a nursery. Absolutely not the one used by his ancestors. Too far away from our bedroom, and we want our baby close. Plus, that room makes me sad. Just so sad. We'll fill the house with happiness and children and art and music. Love. Most of all, love. Colin's been denied love for far too long. To think his grandmother, his own and only grandparent, refused to come to the wedding. And his mother, so distant, so empty somehow, didn't come. Too damn weak to stand up to Patricia. Thank God he's had Deuce and Corey and Ace and Paula. And little Trey and Anna. All the Doyles, his real family. And now I'll make a home. Make a family for Colin with Colin. And I'll fill all the empty spaces he grew up with. In the bedroom, I put my sparkling wedding shoes away. Consider other choices. Well, the hell with shoes. Barefoot bride suits me better anyway. Almost giddy, I roll down my stockings, discard them, then rush out to join the party. A woman in black waits at the top of the stairs. A strange dress for a wedding. Almost like a bride herself, but one in mourning. I feel the hair at the back of my neck stand up as she stares at me. But I'm the hostess here now, so smile at her. Oh, hi. Are you looking for a powder room?
I look for you, the 7th bride.
Pretty sure I'm Colin's first. Joanna Poole. I extend my hand. She doesn't take it, but grips my left, and so hard. She yanks my ring from my finger. What the hell's wrong with you? Fury rises as I try to take back what's mine. Who are you? When she held up her hands, I saw 7 rings gleaming on her fingers. And for a moment only, I thought of the curse. A strange story of witches and death and darkness I'd never believed. But in that moment, I did believe. My only thought now, in fear, is to get away, to find Colin. She speaks.
Who am I? I am and always will be mistress of the manor. I am your death.
I turn to run down the stairs, away. Something grips my head, my neck. I feel a sharp shock of pain. Then nothing, as my body tumbles down and down the beautiful stairs. Hester Dobbs looks down from the top of them, holds her hands up once more, so the rings seem to fire on her fingers.
7 brides with 7 rings, with blood and death their power sings. The rings on my hand make them mine, and I am mistress here for all time.
She flicked a hand, and the entrance doors opened.
Find her, grieve her, and I feast on your tears."
Turning, she looked into Sonia's eyes.
"I feel you, bitch whelp with pool blood. You are far too late."
As people rushed in, as the house filled with shouts, screams, she laughed.
"Ah, taste it, like wine, delicious."
Like a shadow struck by sunlight, she vanished. Too late to save Joanna and the other 6. But it can't be too late to send Dobbs to hell. It can't be. Because she trembled, Owen put an arm around her.
"We can't do anything here. We should go back."
As they went back down, people moved through and around the mirror as if it didn't exist. Before she stepped through again, she saw Colin holding Joanna's body, weeping for her, saying her name as she'd seen the first Colin Poole hold and weep for Astrid. It broke her heart. When she stepped back into the now, Trey wrapped his arms around her.
"You're cold?"
A little. It was Joanna. The wedding. She came in to change her shoes. Her feet hurt. She was so happy.
"Come sit down."
He guided her into the parlor. "I'll make you tea." Sonia shook her head at Cleo. "Just water. Just some water. I always feel so off after. Owen?"
"Water's fine. I couldn't do anything. Not a fucking thing. I thought I'd get to Dobbs first, but I couldn't. It's like watching a play, but you're trapped in your seat."
He sat, scrubbed his hands over his face, then was up like a shot when Cleo screamed. Screamed again with the sound of glass shattering on the floor. She stood frozen, her hands over her mouth as if to hold back another scream, and stared up at the man hanging from a rope near the base of the stairs in the grand foyer.
"Watch the glass."
Owen avoided most of it as he picked her up.
"Tell me you see that. You see that."
"It's Colin Poole." Sonia fought to breathe as she looked up. "Astrid's Colin." As the rope creaked, Astrid lay below him, her wedding dress soaked with blood. And seconds later, Joanna lay bloody and broken beside her. They all came, all the dead of the manor, in their moment of pain and fear and despair. While the house filled with their cries, their sobs, their pleas as despair clogged the air. Laughter, wild, free, mad, rolled over them like thunder. This is Brittany Presley. I hope you've enjoyed The Mirror, a Macmillan audio production for St. Martin's Press. This title was produced by Guy Oldfield. Directed by Kimberly M. Wetherell. Post-production by Chris Howerton. Text copyright 2024 by Nora Roberts. Production copyright 2024 by Macmillan Audio. All rights reserved. For more information about Macmillan audiobooks, please visit macmillanaudio.com.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.
is. She reached in her enormous bag, pulled out a sketch pad.
You have a sketch pad.
I always have a sketch pad. Go sit. It's an interesting setup. Then I'll trade you for a sale. You and Jones in the Siren.
I don't see why.
You will. You see it, don't you, Sonia? I have to say yes. And if Trey will give me a ride home, I'll take Yoda, since I see Pie sitting on top of the desk.
Cleo smiled.
See why we've been best friends forever? Then I want one with you using one of these tools. Maybe just a sander or a chisel. Maybe that bandsaw.
You know what a bandsaw is?
Cleo gave him a roll of her eyes.
Of course I know what a bandsaw is.
Owen looked a little helplessly at Trey.
Damn it. We'll get out of your way. Come on, Mooks.
I got a couple of ideas for you,
Cleo told Trey.
Definitely getting out of your way.
He grabbed Sonia's hand, pulled her out of the shop. When she's ready for you, you won't escape.
I can run pretty fast.
How about a stroll on High Street instead? I'll buy you an ice cream cone.
I'll take that deal.
An easy day, Sonia thought. One with no work and all fun. She'd needed it, and considered her balance fully restored as they walked the dogs along High Street. They stopped often to have a word with friends and neighbors, and that reminded her what she'd made herself a part of. It pleased her to see some of Anna's pottery in the window display at Bay Arts. As they paused there, Kevin stepped out. He had a mile-wide grin, gold wire-framed glasses, and sported a bow tie.
Caught a glimpse of you. First again, Sonia. Amazing party. John D. and I had an absolute blast.
We did too.
Always good to see you, Trey. I just saw your grandmother yesterday.
She gets around.
How's your mom? Doing good. Just a sprain. Pickleball injury,
he said to Sonia, before he bent down to scrub at both dogs.
Hello, puppies. Hello there. I wanted to tell you I just this morning sold the last painting Cleo brought in. A couple from Cambridge taking a long weekend, staying at the hotel. She'll be delighted. Please tell her. If I don't talk to her first, I'd be delighted if she has anything else ready. And I want to tell you I'm ready to go with your proposal for the website, the signage, the works. Now I'm delighted. I'll start building the website next week. Great. We'll talk. I have to get back to it. Enjoy this spectacular day.
She did. From the sail to the walk, the feeling of belonging to margaritas on the deck with the men handling steaks on the grill. Clover kept things upbeat with the music. Molly had the windows open, and 3 dogs plus cat played in the yard. Every day should be today, Sonia decided.
If only.
Then Cleo smiled.
We'd get bored.
I hate knowing that's true. Sonia paged through Cleo's sketchbook. These are terrific. You already know that.
You want oils for the one at the desk. And I want to play with shadows and light. Man working late, that sort of thing. Right now I'm feeling lazy, like a movie after dinner. Read my mind.
While they ate in the sunlight, Sonia smiled over at Owen.
I've been looking at chairs for out front. Maybe a nice bench, the kind that'll handle being out in the weather. The thing is, I haven't found anything that's not boring and standard. Nothing with the character the manor deserves.
Eyeing her, he ate a bite of steak.
You want me to build you chairs and maybe a bench?
You do have that incredible workshop and all those tools. I drew up some ideas.
Uh-huh.
He glanced at Trey, who shrugged.
She did it this afternoon. I gotta say, they look good. Interesting. Interesting. And say I find them interesting, what do I get?
I thought since Cleo would use them too, she could offer you sexual favors.
I'm already getting those.
Yeah, they can be withheld.
He just turned to Cleo.
But can they? Can they really?
She laughed and lifted her margarita.
I also noticed you have a nice collection of old tools.
There are more of those downstairs. You could take whatever you wanted.
Maybe I'll take a look at the design.
When he did, saw the generous seats, the wide arms, the carving on the back that represented the weeper in bloom, he hissed out a breath.
Okay, interesting. But you're going to want to angle the seats and back some.
Whatever you think.
I've got some teak, and that'd work. But black locust, more interesting.
Isn't that an insect?
No. Back when. They used it a lot for outdoor work. And you want character. The been here forever feel. It can be a bitch to work with.
Not for you. Cleo batted her eyes at him.
I'm taking those sexual favors, Lafayette, and some tools.
He pointed at Trey.
You helped get me into this, so you help with the build. I'm in. I like them. I'd have talked her out of them otherwise.
Is that so?
Sonia said.
It's what he does. Talks people into things or out of them. Mostly.
Owen added.
They come out of it thinking it was their idea. Let the record show this was Sonia's idea, issuing the challenge and yours to accept it. So,
Trey smiled.
How about that movie?
At 3, the clock sounded. On the drift of piano music, Sonia rose. Trey got up quickly. I'm awake, she told him. I'm awake, but I have to. I need to go.
I'm right here with you, but I'm going to get Owen. You don't have to go through alone.
I have to go. When she walked into the hall, Trey started to go down ahead, get Owen, but both Owen and Cleo stepped out of the bedroom.
Somebody woke me up,
Owen told him.
It wasn't Cleo.
I heard it too, like before. Someone saying, Sonia, a hand on my shoulder. I'm awake, but do you feel it too?
Not really. Something, maybe.
Owen shook his head.
But not really.
I have to go. I have to. She continued to the end of the hall with that pull growing stronger and stronger. Then she stopped at the top of the stairs, pointed down. It's there. Do you see it? It's down there.
I see it.
His eyes on the mirror. Trey took her hand.
You can say no, Sonia. I'll help you say no if that's what you want.
No, I need to.
I'm with her. You need to stay with Cleo. It's not reflecting. Movement in it. And I can hear music.
Trey kept Sonia's hand. He saw them reflected in the glass as they walked toward the mirror. He heard nothing. At the base of the stairs, he put Sonia's hand in Owen's, and all his trust with it.
Look out for her. I got it.
Cleo grabbed Owen's face, kissed him. Look out for you, too.
That's the plan. Ready?
It doesn't matter. I have to. Together, they stepped through and stood in the grand foyer with the portrait of Astrid Granville Poole. The music, the voices, came from outside the open windows.
Louie, Louie.
Owen identified the song, the heavy bass coming through.
So 60s or beyond.
I don't understand. Even as Sonia spoke, the front door flew open. The woman rushed in, long auburn hair in tumbling waves to her shoulders. She wore a crown of rosebuds over it, with ribbons trailing behind. She hiked up the frothy skirts of her white dress as she hurried toward the stairs. In high, sparkling heels, Joanna Poole started up. Her feet are killing her, Sonia murmured. I can hear her thoughts, like with Arthur Poole. Gripping Owen's hand, she followed the seventh bride. 1995. I'm married. I'm a married woman. A woman married to the best man I've ever known. The only man I've ever truly loved. From today, we're Colin and Joanna Poole. And why in God's name did I wear these ridiculous shoes on the most important day of my life? I laugh, pause on the stairs, pull them off, and let out a long, relieved sigh. Because they're gorgeous, and I needed to be gorgeous today. I felt gorgeous when I saw the light and love in Colin's eyes as I walked toward him. A perfect day. Our perfect day. I flex my aching toes, lay a hand on my belly. All three of us. I can't wait to tell Corey, to share the news with my closest friend. I'm going to be a mom. But today, I'm a bride, and that's enough. More than enough once I change my shoes. At the top of the stairs, I turn a circle and think of all the plans Colin and I have for the manor. He's updated some of it. A lot of it, really, but we'll do more. And we'll need a nursery. Absolutely not the one used by his ancestors. Too far away from our bedroom, and we want our baby close. Plus, that room makes me sad. Just so sad. We'll fill the house with happiness and children and art and music. Love. Most of all, love. Colin's been denied love for far too long. To think his grandmother, his own and only grandparent, refused to come to the wedding. And his mother, so distant, so empty somehow, didn't come. Too damn weak to stand up to Patricia. Thank God he's had Deuce and Corey and Ace and Paula, and little Trey and Anna. All the Doyles, his real family. And now I'll make a home, make a family for Colin with Colin, and I'll fill all the empty spaces he grew up with. In the bedroom, I put my sparkling wedding shoes away. Consider other choices. Well, the hell with shoes. Barefoot bride suits me better anyway. Almost giddy, I roll down my stockings, discard them, then rush out to join the party. A woman in black waits at the top of the stairs. A strange dress for a wedding. Almost like a bride herself, but one in mourning. I feel the hair at the back of my neck stand up as she stares at me. But I'm the hostess here now, so smile at her. Oh, hi. Are you looking for a powder room?
I look for you, the seventh bride.
Pretty sure I'm Colin's first. Joanna Poole. I extend my hand. She doesn't take it, but grips my left, and so hard. She yanks my ring from my finger. What the hell's wrong with you? Fury rises as I try to take back what's mine. Who are you? When she held up her hands, I saw 7 rings gleaming on her fingers. And for a moment only, I thought of the curse. A strange story of witches and death and darkness I'd never believed. But in that moment, I did believe. My only thought now, in fear, is to get away, to find Colin. She speaks.
Who am I? I am and always will be mistress of the manor. I am your death.
I turn to run down the stairs, away. Something grips my head, my neck. I feel a sharp shock of pain. Then nothing, as my body tumbles down and down the beautiful stairs. Hester Dobbs looks down from the top of them, holds her hands up once more, so the rings seem to fire on her fingers.
7 brides with 7 rings, with blood and death their power sings. The rings on my hand make them mine, and I am mistress here for all time.
She flicked a hand, and the entrance doors opened.
Find her, grieve her, and I feast on your tears.
Turning, she looked into Sonia's eyes.
I feel you, bitch whelp with pool blood. You are far too late.
As people rushed in, as the house filled with shouts, screams, she laughed.
Ah, taste it, like wine, delicious.
Like a shadow struck by sunlight, she vanished. Too late to save Joanna and the other 6. But it can't be too late to send Dobbs to hell. It can't be. Because she trembled, Owen put an arm around her.
We can't do anything here. We should go back.
As they went back down, people moved through and around the mirror as if it didn't exist. Before she stepped through again, she saw Colin holding Joanna's body, weeping for her, saying her name as she'd seen the first Colin Poole hold and weep for Astrid. It broke her heart. When she stepped back into the now, Trey wrapped his arms around her.
You're cold?
A little. It was Joanna. The wedding. She came in to change her shoes. Her feet hurt. She was so happy.
Come sit down.
He guided her into the parlor. I'll make you tea. Sonia shook her head at Cleo. Just water. Just some water.
I always feel so off after. Owen?
Water's fine. I couldn't do anything. Not a fucking thing. I thought I'd get to Dobbs first, but I couldn't. It's like watching a play, but you're trapped in your seat.
He sat, scrubbed his hands over his face, then was up like a shot when Cleo screamed. Screamed again with the sound of glass shattering on the floor. She stood frozen, her hands over her mouth as if to hold back another scream, and stared up at the man hanging from a rope near the base of the stairs in the grand foyer.
Watch the glass.
Owen avoided most of it as he picked her up.
Tell me you see that. You see that. It's Colin Poole.
Sonia fought to breathe as she looked up.
Astrid's Colin.
As the rope creaked, Astrid lay below him, her wedding dress soaked with blood. And seconds later, Joanna lay bloody and broken beside her. They all came, all the dead of the manor, in their moment of pain and fear and despair, while the house filled with their cries, their sobs, their pleas as despair clogged the air. Laughter, wild, free, mad, rolled over them like thunder. This is Brittany Presley. I hope you've enjoyed The Mirror, a Macmillan audio production for St. Martin's Press. This title was produced by Guy Oldfield. Directed by Kimberly M. Wetherell. Post-production by Chris Howerton. Text copyright 2024 by Nora Roberts. Production copyright 2024 by Macmillan Audio. All rights reserved. For more information about Macmillan audiobooks, please visit macmillanaudio.com.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.